Hello everyone, welcome to episode 71 of FPL BlackBox. My arm is fixed, I think you can hear me, who knows, I'm in the driving seat again, Mark, God knows what I'm doing, it's stressful this, isn't it?
Very stressful, especially when you have arm difficulties. They are technical problems that I've never experienced as, so well done, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, you've made me buy this ultra expensive arm because you're getting sick of my reverberations when I rock my leg nervously. It doesn't do that anymore, can you hear anything now?
No, see, that's it, solved it. Brilliant. And you can slam your glass and it probably will not reverberate now. So
money well spent.
Exactly.
Luke, you're back. How are you?
I'm good. I'm dying out here. I'm the only one with a headset, for Christ's sake. Where's my fix up, man? I need an arm in my life.
Yeah.
Sort this shambles out.
It's summer now. Your ears are going to get all hot and red.
I know, yeah. I spent a lot of time wearing this through the years, though. It served me well, so
getting used to it.
We're all good.
We've got a game week going on in progress. At the moment, Chelsea are 1-0 up. Leeds are down to 10 men. Might even go down to 9 men soon. Sounds like they've lost their heads. Mark's got his triple Everton in play. I've got my double Everton in play. My team's awful, and I'm expecting a huge red this week. I've got more faith in both of you with smiles on your face on this episode, I think.
Yeah, it's only one goal gone in so far. I've got high expectations of Everton because I've gone in with the treble up. Watford have fielded a team of B-listers basically, but doing all right apparently. It's still 0-0 and they've actually fared quite well. So yeah, I don't know. Leeds are in trouble though, aren't they? Regardless of what Everton do at Watford, it looks like they're kind of capitulating. I just enjoy saying capitulating, but I don't enjoy saying Leeds are because I like them in the Premier League, but it looks like it's not going to happen.
I think my early season prediction of Leeds going down might come true because
I mean, you did say that, didn't you?
I did. I mean, the injuries obviously have been the key part, but it is amazing they're in this position after the season they had last year. But yeah, I think they're the ones to go down now. I think.
I really don't want Burnley to survive again. Sorry, Burnley fans. Really don't want it though, do we?
It's going to happen. Ben Mee and Michael Jackson are in charge. There's no stop.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable story.
It is an unbelievable. And another season of Weghorst, who is obviously going to be the striker of choice. You know.
Yeah.
I think a certain Bundesliga striker is going to be on our watch list, and it's going to be Wout Weghorst.
We need to free up the money from somewhere. So maybe Wout's going to be that. Oh God, we're not going to talk about him. We are going to talk about a certain Norwegian striker though. On this pod, we've got a few things to cover with him. Obviously, big signing for City, big signing for our teams next season, and we've got all the usual data to talk about going into double game week 37, 2 game weeks left, not long to go. So your final season pushes need to happen now. Before we do that, let's just quickly talk about our game week so far. My team just looks...
Hold on, let's take our time over it. Mine's not too bad. I don't want to rush.
No, let's go quickly through this.
Go on.
My team, Ramsdale, Trent. I kept hold of Robertson, even though I knew he was going to play one game. And you know when you just think that Robertson to Laporte move would have just been so simple. I mean,
why didn't you do it? Why didn't you?
I was
just because of the hit, and you thought 4 points isn't worth it.
A couple of reasons. One, I wanted to keep Robertson for the final 2 games. I think Southampton's a good game for him. Wolves at home as well, and he's been so good for me. I didn't want to lose him. And then I had the Barnes thing to deal with, where I just didn't really want to get shot of him. I really wanted to get shot of him because I was just sick of looking at him not starting. So yeah, looking back on it, I just wish I'd done it. Obviously, but the goal. I mean, for God's sake, Dubravka just dropping the ball into Laporte's. Diaz kicks it and then he spills it and Laporte kicks it in. That's like 10 points or whatever. It's
a bit harsh as well because I think Robertson, if you look at it like you say for the group, it's hard to sell him for the other matches, and then obviously he can do well in that one game, can't he? Yeah. And he came off and we thought, well, maybe there's like a chance of maybe him getting the second one. But
no,
obviously didn't happen.
Easy with hindsight, but yeah, I didn't do it. Cancelo, Cash, Salah, Saka, Kulusevski, Gordon, Kane, and Richarlison. So my only player so far to get me any returns are Cancelo and the mighty Richarlison. I haven't got enough City. I haven't got any Chelsea. Haven't got any hope. I don't think this week. It's a depressing week.
Well, on the back of a rank of 1784, which is still great, right? And you still got a chance to make the top 1K. Can we talk about Salah at this point? I mean, we tried to predict the Liverpool lineup, didn't we? Or I did. Right, let's put it out there. Got it completely wrong because Matip didn't play the first game, played the second. He didn't play both. So it looks like it's still up in the air whether Canate or Matip play the FA Cup final. But where did the Salah rest come from again? What's the theory behind that?
I just don't. He's not quite on it at the moment, is he? I think.
Do you think that's it? Do you think it was actually a preferred? You know, he was the one they preferred to drop.
Well, he had a rest only a couple of weeks ago, so I don't think it's anything to do with tiredness. I think he's taken him out of the spotlight a bit before the final. He wasn't good again. He wasn't good against Spurs.
I suppose we'll never know. I don't think that, but obviously it could be that. I mean, at the end of the day, who thinks he's not going to start the FA Cup final?
Oh, we 100% will start the final.
Yeah, so I don't think it's about not starting your best players. So I don't think it can be therefore he thinks he's playing bad. I do agree he's not been playing at his best level, but I think it's more than minutes these days, isn't it? It just shows you no matter what's on the line, you know, even resting. If there's a guy on Twitter called Sports Science, FPL Sports Science, and I think he's in the field, and he posted a really interesting thread actually where the tests they do and stuff is all, I mean, I won't go into specifics, but essentially it doesn't matter necessarily about minutes. They'll turn up and they'll do certain tests, and if they're not firing on those particular tests or they're not right at the top level, then, you know, they'll give them time. And sometimes it can surprise even the physios, he was saying. So, you know, there might be a player who's played a whole string of games consecutive, like Robertson or someone like that, and they still manage to smash the test every week. So, well, I don't need to give him a rest. So it's this whole red zone thing, I guess. And, you know, maybe it's that. We're never going to know. Maybe he had a knock. Unless he tells us specifically, it just seems pretty damn unlucky, doesn't it? Because Salah's not the type to miss, well, bench twice in a row.
No, I can't remember the last time that happened.
Do you think there's a part of it which is Klopp saying we that draw against Spurs probably means that's the league done, and I just want to make sure I wrap up this FA Cup final?
I don't know.
I don't see that.
I can't see any reason why Salah would have been benched for that Villa game. I just don't believe he needed a rest. I think there's something tactical or there's something like that going on.
The thing is, if you look at it, right, Mane's been in great form. Diaz was probably, you know, the star performer when he came on in Europe and won that tie, and Jota needed a start. So it makes logical sense, but it was just surprised to
Tactical,
see.
Then.
Well, it seems that way, and then what I'm thinking is, do we take that into next season? Do we think that? Don't forget, Firmino wasn't fully fit, right? So when he has the five, when he's got Firmino, Jota, Diaz, Mane, and Salah, which I presume he's going to have next season, is it going to be more of a minefield? Like, is there going to be? Is it going to be harder? Right?
Yeah, 100%. But also, we need to remember the FA Cup final's in 3 days, right? So under normal circumstances, like for example Chelsea, everyone thought they were going to rotate the whole side because they've got the FA Cup final 3 days later. Okay, they haven't. Liverpool have rotated a few. You could just look at it like that and say he's keeping him fresh for the FA Cup final. I know he got benched the week before, but you just kind of ignore that and go, well, it's 3 days later. He wants him. Maybe it's not even rest. Maybe what happens if Salah gets injured in the game and he wants him for the FA Cup final? Maybe he just wants to make sure nothing happens to him. I mean, we don't know, do we? It's all speculation.
Yeah, no, it was odd, but no one saw that coming. And obviously, I mean, I welcomed it because I don't have it.
I was going to say, you must have been
blow
delighted.
to a lot of managers. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Can we please move? Can we please move on?
Move on. Yeah. I just wanted to keep your team on screen for as long as possible.
Now we're going to go on to your team. 53 points, but I mean, Pickford came in. You minus 12, 53 points. You brought in Pickford, Gordon, Andrew Charlison. And Diaz, who you're incredibly unlucky with, got the assist and then taken off. No Salah, so you went Son captain, and then your best mate Coutinho with 3 points. Again, you must be pretty happy though so far.
I am, but I'm gutted I went Diaz. I mean, it was obviously an EO thing. I went against the EO. Diaz had like 7% effective ownership around my rank, whereas Cancelo, Laporte was on about 30. Also, I thought Ake was a factor, and he's left-sided, so I thought Laporte would be the more likely one to get the rest. I didn't think Diaz was an injury concern. He played 2 games. He played 120 minutes. Maybe I should have thought, well, maybe he's not fully over his injury yet. Maybe he's still a risk, but I just didn't see Diaz as a risk at all in terms of getting crocked. And is it unlucky? This is what I've got to decide. Is it unlucky or was it a mistake? I guess at the moment I'm thinking I was unlucky, but I don't know. You've got to examine these things.
I personally think it's unlucky because we've already seen in this double how many players have not played that we thought could, and you just justified it there. If Ake was fit, which he didn't tell us, Pep, he didn't tell us he was not. He was on the bench, so we used the information we had, right? If he'd have said beforehand, you know, Ake's only half fit before the deadline, then you probably would have gone Laporte because he's been the more nailed on. He's got, you know, arguably the better threat from set pieces, all that stuff. But you've taken the information and played it safe over the double. And let's not forget, I mean, Diaz got the assist for the corner. He could have easily got the return himself, right? So what can you do?
Yeah.
If someone gets a
There's-
hamstring injury or whatever it is. It was a muscle injury, wasn't it? So
There is absolutely no way
yeah.
you can say it's anything but bad luck. Like it's just
Well,
just such a 50-50 call. And
Yeah, I mean, there were some people saying that after the 120 minutes in Europe, he was stretching. He looked a bit ginger as he came off. He was like,
Well, Laporte was
still
holding his
didn't
groin.
look fit.
Wolves have scored.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
the clean sheet for
Have they?
City's gone anyway. That makes me feel a bit better about having Diaz, because at least I got 2 points out of Diaz over Robertson. So although I spent 4 on him, I got 2 of them back with the assist, and Robertson only ended up with 2, didn't it? So it wasn't a big loss. But what I could have had from Laporte is the concern. And obviously Son, yeah. I mean, I went Son as captain because, we talked about it last week about him arguably being a stronger asset than Salah. And so, with so many going Salah, I thought Son was the obvious choice. I was going to get a Jota or Diaz. I didn't in the end. I kept to the plan of just spending the 12 rather than going to 16. And the idea of getting Pickford with Charleston Gordon is just for game week 37. I've got the three doublers already, whereas people have either got a free hit or bring them in now. So it was about spending the points this week, hopefully not taking too much of a rank hit, and getting a good setup for 37, which looks like it's going to be okay. And if Son comes in tomorrow night, then I could be laughing.
I'm going tomorrow now. I'm going to the
are
game.
you?
Yeah.
Well done. Nice.
It'd be nice. Yeah, really nice. I will apologise just to people watching and listening to this. This is probably going to be quite a chaotic stream, given that we've got these matches going on, given that I'm so flustered for some reason doing these screens as well after all the arm issues. It probably won't be our normal brilliant organised thing that we normally do, Mark, but have we ever done one of those? I don't think so.
Yeah, we've done 1 or 2 smooth ones, I think. Yeah, so
It's
Wolves
71.
have equalised. It's 1-1. De Bruyne got the goal. Obviously, again, for non-Salah owners who went De Bruyne, it's a fantastic result, the returns he's getting. All the other games are 0-0 apart from the 1-0 to Chelsea.
Oh, De Bruyne scored, has he?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got him in my team. Yay! I've got some points.
Let's come to Luke's
Well done,
team.
Luke. Yeah, let's come to
Luke's
it.
team.
Yeah.
Luke,
Teeth.
you've got Foster in goal. You've got the double Liverpool defence like me, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. Double Chelsea defence. They're looking good for a clean sheet. Alonso and James. Then triple City. So this is where I look at your team and I think, I should have done that. Cancelo, De Bruyne and Foden. Then you've got Salah, Saka and Richarlison. And for once, Luke, you took no hits.
What do you mean for once? It does happen occasionally. Did it last week as well?
Rarely.
No, that's fair. I don't know. Until tonight, it was kind of just like, I had this team and I've constructed, and I thought it looked really nice on paper as usual, and potentially 11 doublers, and you just get excited. I think in game week 36, you want to end on a high, and it's kind of limping over the edge, which is really depressing. But tonight got James' assist and a De Bruyne goal, so things are coming up Millhouse, it looks like, at the moment. So hopefully we can get some more points. But I did.
You could
Kane
beat
and
me
Mount
yet,
out.
Luke. You could beat me yet. I thought.
Yeah, that Son masterstroke. I was ahead of you, and then he pulled up Son. Oh my God, destroyed me.
I need him to go
2
gangbusters tomorrow night to hold you off, I think, by the way it's looking. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, captaining Salah 2 weeks in a row for both benchings is just, you really don't want to see that in your life, do you? I mean, I'm trying to play sensible, captain the right person, don't take any hits, and it still ends up backfiring.
It's not you, though, Luke, is it? All this model stuff, playing sensible, not taking hits. What do you make of it? We've lost him, haven't we?
He's gone to the dark side.
You're not
No
getting
comment.
rid of those headphones until we get the real Luke back. Can we get the real Luke back?
But it's Operation Meat Shield, so that's good for you. Mark.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's working
And
at
I
the
also
moment.
took out Mount, by the way, for De Bruyne, so it's not quite as good as it looks because
Right.
he's also scored tonight.
Yeah.
Quick touching on the great and the good. Won't focus on it very much, but just to mention, Fabio's overtaken me. Do you know his transfers this week?
Laporte and don't know the first one. What was the first one?
Nketiah.
Nketiah, yeah.
Oh, De Bruyne
KDB's just scored again.
Wow, Luke
Luke is on fire, absolutely on fire. And there's a few people who have been doing badly this season. I think Richard Clark's got KDB captain. I'm not sure if has Tom Freeman got KDB captain as well. I hope so because I think he's having a good game.
He has, yeah.
Well, there you go. Tom's doing well now.
See, not many in the great and the good have him. Magnus Carlsen, Jeff, and Tom have him.
Yeah. So well played, Tom. Well played, Rich. And
Big.
they needed a bit of luck. They've had bad seasons like me, so good for them.
Big haul for him, and he got the assist and bonus as well in the last game, didn't he? So yeah, that's big. Right, let's talk about something other than fantasy football. Let's talk about let's talk about Haaland, because Haaland has pretty much signed. Everyone's really excited about it. We've got some stuff on him. We've all prepared a little slide on Haaland, which is quite nice. We'll come to my one first. My one's the kind of the basic stats one. Essentially, I just looked at Haaland compared to some of the other sort of big names in Europe this season, just to kind of compare how he's doing. He's got 21 goals, 8 assists this season. Lewandowski is 34 goals for Lewandowski this season. Another just insane season for him. Mbappe's got 24. You've got Salah 22. Benzema with 26. This is just in the league. Kane and Ronaldo with 13 and 18 respectively. And Messi with 4, which I had to check like 5 times to make sure I was reading that right. But essentially, he's in the company of Salah, Mbappe, and Benzema in the goal front, and Lewandowski just leading it. So he's a goal scorer, as we kind of know. Looking at the expected stats, though, of all those players I just mentioned, he has the second best non-penalty XG plus expected assists with 0.96. So if he carries on his form, you're basically getting a return from him every week. Salah's, by comparison, is 0.85. Kane's is 0.7, Ronaldo 0.62, Benzema 0.79. He's level with Mbappe with 0.96, and Lewandowski's top with 1.06. So what do you make of that, Mark? I mean, the underlying stats, the goals, the team he's going to be playing in, everything.
Yeah,
points
it's scary.
To perma captain, right?
I don't know about perma captain. I think the issue with Haaland's going to be, whether he plays every game and fitness, as we'll look at in a minute. No doubt, statistically, he's incredibly strong. But then, arguably, we had that with Werner this season. I'm not comparing Werner to Haaland. They're definitely different levels at play there. And I haven't even mentioned Weghorst yet. Different levels at play there for sure. But yeah, there's no doubt there's a Bundesliga tax, right? The question is, does it apply to Haaland? Is he too good? And can he overcome that? Is there going to be any kind of tax at all? Is he just going to slot in and hit the same kind of numbers and scoring rate in the Premier League? Nobody really knows the answer, do they? I mean, I think the problem will be is we'll be too scared to wait to find out, won't we? It'd be like the Werner situation a couple of seasons ago, where he arrives with such reputation. This guy's got a higher rep than Werner did have. And the worry is if you don't get in early, you can't restructure to get him, and he's going to shoot up in price and blah, 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 basically. You're going to be in trouble. So there's going to be a clamour for him game week 1. How big that clamour is going to depend on what the FPL do with prices and what they do with positions. If Kane is the only potential alternative up front, look at what we got this season. Yeah. No one's going to be, going Tony, Watkins, these kind of players over Haaland, are they? They're going to look at that list of forwards and go, well, I've got to pick 3 forwards. One of them's going to be a big forward. It's going to be Haaland, probably over Kane, because they're, if anything, going to go Son as a midfielder over Kane to cover Spurs, given that Kane has dropped so deep so often this season and turned into an assist machine. So I think Haaland's going to be by far and away the most popular forward, regardless of any doubts about whether he adjusts, whether he keeps fit. And that worries me a bit. I think I'm kind of worried about the impact it's going to have on next season's game, to be honest. What do you reckon, Luke?
Well, it's also an advantage if he's bad, though. If you think he's going to be bad like Werner, let's say you took the punt that Werner was going to be bad, then obviously you have an advantage over much of the field. So you do have to look at it in a positive light as well sometimes. I don't think he is going to be bad, by the way.
No, he's not. I don't think we can draw the Werner comparison. I'm talking more in terms of FBL, what it was like, not in terms of light for light in terms of player.
Well, I imagine obviously we're going to need to wait for the prices. This is the main thing, right? You can't say anything until you can look at how much he is, and then comparatively to the other options and what you can do with your team. But I would imagine most people are going to be on Salah and him from the start, almost regardless of fixtures. You've got to remember, of every kid playing FIFA on their PlayStation, everyone's going to have Haaland. Like, it's just going to happen. Like you say, he's going to be really popular. And if they've got good fixtures, it does make sense, like you say, to start the game with these kind of players and then move off of them if they're not good, because the alternative can be very painful. It's not the best play for, optimal play for expected value or whatever, but it is in terms of effective ownership. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think if you don't go Haaland early, you're going to play a wild card early to get him. Maybe as soon as he scores, everyone's going to panic, aren't they? That's the other thing. It's like if he gets a couple of goals in the first 3 games, not many are going to hold their resolve. They're going to go straight in just in case, right? So I don't know. I honestly, I love him being in the Premier League. It's going to be great watching him. It's going to be interesting to see how City adjust to him, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I do fear for how strong the template is going to be. It's going to be Trent, Cancelo, Salah, Son, Haaland, right? The Premier League will try and make it that you can get as many of those top players as you can in your team because they want to sell the product. And if we can do that, if we can get 4 of those 5 or even 5 of those 5, it's then going to be about what bargains we can find and who can get on the bargains earliest, who can find the cheap 4-5s, the cheap 5 million defender, who can find the 5 million Man City defender that plays, that kind of thing. I don't like the sound of that. That's what I'm worried about.
Price predictions?
12.5, I think.
I think
I'll
he comes
go
in.
with that.
I think he comes in more than that. Ronaldo was 12.5. I think he comes in at 13.
I think it'll be the same as Salah, and I can only assume what's Salah this season, 12.5.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, so maybe they both go 13. It'll be 12.5 or 13, I think. They rarely as expensive as we think they'll be, if that makes sense.
Well, Van Persie was 14 back in the day, wasn't he? But he's not going to be that high, I don't think.
No.
So
Not in his first season.
No.
He scored 12 goals that season, Van Persie.
I know.
14
That's
million,
the
by
boys, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's come over to your chart, Luke. So this is from @FPL_Chase. Really nice chart. This was looking at Haaland versus Aguero, because the kind of what you're kind of hinting at is that Haaland's game might have to adapt a little bit, and that's what people kind of think with City. So do you want to just explain about this chart and what that means?
Yeah, so in the bottom corner, most important, @FPL_Chase. He's the chap who's done this for us, and I'd recommend following him because he puts loads of good stuff out, loads of good content that's really useful. Yeah, as you can see, we've got Haaland in this season versus Aguero. We've tried to take peak Aguero under Pep, basically. So we've come up with 18-19 as his best season under Pep. And also it's against the big 5 leagues forward. So what that means is it basically explains the chart in terms of the average per 90. So if we take non-penalty XG, which is probably the most important for us as fantasy managers, we look down to that bottom sort of 0.25. What that means is if the graph was to stretch out to that point, that's in the bottom 20% of the average forwards across the top 5 leagues. So it goes up 20% each time, really. So 40% would be to 0.35, 60%, 0.4, etc. So right at the top is in the 100th percentile or very close to it. So basically the best forwards across the 5 leagues on average. These two are right at the top. So that's obviously the most important one, we would say. But as you go round, you can take some sort of things from this. And how much does this play into, would Haaland obviously have different attributes or different things when he's playing for Man City? They're a more ball-dominant team, aren't they, than Dortmund? So, there's other things in there. I don't know what you guys take from it, but touches in the box, he's slightly up. As you see, Aguero was slightly up. Now, will Haaland's be slightly more up because they'll have more of the ball? There are things that you'd have to adjust for the team he plays for, I think. But then when you look over to the left-hand side, I think this is where there's sort of a bit of a stark contrast, especially in ball carries and pressures. And we know from previous experience here, when Jesus was signed by Pep, he actually benched Aguero to begin with and said he needed to do a little bit more in this area. And we can see Haaland doesn't really do much of that according to this chart. He's in the bottom percentile, so the average forward, he's in right at the bottom for some of these. He doesn't draw fouls, he doesn't attempt passes. Maybe that changes when he plays for Pep because they dominate the ball more, but certainly the ball carries and the pressures. So the question is, will Pep make Haaland have to do this? Can Haaland even do this? Or will they just adjust their team to allow him to not do this and sit there and work around him? Tricky, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a big thing, wasn't there, for a couple of seasons about him trying to get more from Aguero, closing down the opponent, and Aguero changing his game and still adapting and still scoring goals. Haaland's young; he can certainly adapt, and I think he's not played in a team like Man City before, right? I don't think you can compare Dortmund to it or Red Bull either. So I think that he's going to have to learn to adapt. Is that going to take time? Is Pep going to try and change him? You wouldn't have thought so. You would have thought that he's arriving, that what he brings is going to be enough to City, and they'll adapt to him. But I don't think Pep does that, does he? He doesn't run his teams like that, and he didn't do that with Aguero, as we saw. So there could be some early teething problems, I think, with him, and maybe he's not going to start every game. I mean, the thing we've got with City is that although he'll be signed as their principal striker, at any point they can do what they've done tonight and play Silva up the middle or KDB up the middle or Foden up the middle, and KDB's just got his hat-trick tonight, isn't he? I think so. They score goals and win titles without a striker, right? So So when we're getting Haaland in our teams, he's always going to be a rotation risk to some extent because Pep knows he can play and win games without him. So, yeah, I guess that's the negative, right? I think, we don't know what's going to happen when he slots into that Man City team. We don't know if it's going to be seamless, and we don't know if Pep's going to absolutely play him every game in the Premier League, whether he's going to prioritise him in the Champions League and then play false nines now and again in the league against weaker teams or stronger teams. We don't know any of this yet. We're guessing. All we know is his record outside the Premier League at the moment is absolutely stellar and ranks up there with the best strikers in the world, definitely. So, let's bring up the next table, shall we? That makes it even more interesting, I think.
Here you go. You're going to try and dissuade everyone from Haaland already by talking about his injury record, right?
It's like Ronaldo.
Yeah, I mean,
it is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to that extent, but I mean, we've got to have this information, right? Because it is right. When asked what he could improve on, right, the one thing he said he could improve on is being fit for games, right? So, he's got all the attributes, of course. He's got pace, strength. His finishing is sublime. Maybe he isn't a complete centre forward in terms of a Man City centre forward as we saw there, but he did cite his fitness as an issue. And when we look at this, over the last 2 seasons, he's missed 26 games through injury at his age. That is a concern. I mean, look at the absences this season due to muscular problems. And what's worrying there is he's coming into a league which I guess the narrative is physically it's going to test him more. Right? Physically, he's going to be playing in a team which demands more from him, as in putting pressure and closing down and pressing. And arguably, he's going to be playing in a league which is said to be more physical, right? So there's going to be defenders like Craig Dawson, who tweeted, who aren't going to be standing on ceremony with him. They're going to be like, welcome to the Premier League, bang, basically, right? So he's going to get his fair share of that. I'm not sure how much of that he gets in the Bundesliga, but I'd like to think that the level of defender he comes up against the Premier League is probably superior, and there's some that are going to give him harder games, right? So he is going to come physically under more, I would have thought, more of a test. And at the moment, looking at this injury record, he hasn't really stood up to that in the Bundesliga. So that is what's interesting. So I think when we get him in, and I'm sure we're all going to get him in, we are going to be perhaps running the gauntlet of Pep every now and then taking him out of the team because he knows he can and will still win games without him. And also, when he does get a knock, is that not going to turn into 35 and 42 days out, right? Because that's what he's done this season. What
Who does that remind you of?
Who does that remind me of? You're going to say Aguero, aren't you? Does it remind me of Aguero? Yeah, I guess, well, yeah. Aguero tended to have one injury a season that kept him out a while, didn't he? He did tend, and I always went Kane over Aguero. Am I going to go Kane over Haaland? I don't know. But
what happens to this is the other question as well with Haaland moving to cities. What happens to Kane? Because he doesn't really look like he's got anywhere to go now, apart from stay at Spurs. He's not going to go to United. Real Madrid aren't going to sign him with Benzema there. Liverpool, City are out. Like, what top club is going to come in for him?
Well, they're not. He's going to stay. He's going to stay at Spurs, isn't he?
How does that affect him between now and the end of the season? Because he was probably harbouring some hopes of still getting that dream move to City, and that's completely.
Yeah, I guess now. So. I think that he's probably come around to the idea that Conte can win him a trophy, and he probably can, right? If they act in the summer and they add to what they've got. I mean, they've got two of the best attacking players in the Premier League and in Europe in Son and Kane. They need to complement that, right? They've got a top class centre back in Romero now, so they got a World Cup winning goalkeeper and captain in Lloris. They've got the nucleus of a team that can challenge, but they're about 4 or 5 players short still. Kulusevski looks like he's going to sign permanently, so that's a good start. Bentancur's been good. They've got a lot to do, but I think enough where Kane will be convinced that he can stay and win something with them. And Conte's a winner, right, as we know. So I think he'll be all right. I think he's going to be around. Is he going to be a threat to Haaland and our FPL teams? Well, not if he's priced at 12.5 as well. So, and I think he probably will. I think he will be around 12 million as well. They're not going to be much between it, is there?
I think he'll drop.
Where do you think Kane will be then, Luke?
11.
Well, he's had a worse season than his best ever season, so surely he has a drop. He's had his best season last season.
Yeah,
and now he's had a worse one, so surely he goes down a bit. And also to entice maybe going a bit different, if FPL tweak it a little bit, like you say.
I hope so.
If most people are going to be on Haaland and Salah, then you've got to at least give something enticing to people, haven't you?
You thought they would have done that with Firmino, though. They haven't priced him at 7.5 yet.
Yeah, and arguably Mane as well. If we look at Son's going to be coming up, so the cheapest he's been at the start of the season is 11 million. So he might go down to 11
That's
with
what I
Haaland
think.
at 12.5.
That's what I think.
But then arguably Son's going to go up from 10 to 11 million as well,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's probably what they could do, right? They could put Son up to 11 too and then give you the straight choice. But if you've got the straight choice, you're going to go Son, particularly if Haaland's going to fill up one of your spots up front. I'm worried they're just going to make it too easy. I'm worried they're going to make it like, well, I can get Salah, I can get Son, I can get Haaland, and I can get one of Trent or Cancelo. But if I don't get Trent, I'll get Matip. If I don't get Cancelo, I'll get Laporte. You know, there's a
That is
cheaper
going to
option
happen,
I can
Mark.
go
I'm
to.
telling you now, like that they are
Yeah,
going to
well,
make it cheaper than everyone thinks, because it happens every season. Every season,
That sounds
we say
rubbish.
this player's going to be.
It sounds
this
rubbish, doesn't it?
Well,
And then
let's
who
be
are we left
positive.
picking?
You never know.
Well, I'll try, but I think they need to be clever on that. I think they need to set it up so you can't get all that 4 of those 5, right? Ideally.
This just reminds me of the computer gaming world, right? Where all the people who are like playing in the pro lobbies and want this certain gun nerfed and they want this happen and they want all that because obviously it makes it competitive. And then you've got, the mate who logs on with his noob tubes and shooting them across the map and blowing up half the people and hitting people with swords from 8 miles away. They're the ones that want that kind of crap in the game. And it's the same sort of thing here where the global audience want to be able to pick those players in their team. So I think they will gear it more towards them, unfortunately.
It might be okay if we've got some really good players around the 6, 5, 7 million mark. If they leave Bowen around that and they players come through and there's a bit of variety in that mid price that we can run to. If Mitrovic fires at 6 million and stuff like that, but I don't know.
He's going to come. I mean, the template is forming, isn't it? Quickly, like Salah, Haaland, Mitrovic. That's if the fixtures are all right, most people are going to have those 4. It's probably and then that's not including like Cancelo, Robertson, James, these wing backs that we like and fullbacks. So they've got to have big price hikes as well. But if they go too high, then you're not going to have them, and it's going to be all the premiums again. It's an interesting dilemma, I think, to get it right, but they need to get it right because otherwise
it's a make or break season. I think
it is.
It's a make or break season. Is that they've got to choose what they do now. They either go for a bit more strategy to lock the hardcore element in, the guys that like us who create content and want that kind of challenge in the game, or they go all out and go, we're going to allow you to pick 5 of your 6 favourite players, and then we're left kind of trying to find a challenge in there somewhere. And like I say, the challenge could be who finds the bargains first. And once you found the bargains, you stay on them, and that's it.
Yeah,
game done. I hope not, and hopefully, like things like injuries, suspensions, people rotation will make it more interesting. But maybe Haaland's injury record could be a factor, right? That's what we're showing this for. But it's a little bit worrying at the moment for me.
Yeah. Right. That's out of our control. Let's talk about some things that we potentially can control. Let's move over to looking at game week 37 and trying to pick some gems from that. So firstly, we're going to focus mostly on the teams with a double. Those teams are Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Everton, Burnley, and Leicester. And as I read out those names, it's hard to get too excited about some of the options here. But here we go. This is what we're going to have to try and do. Looking at the team data defence, top of the pile over both the season and the last 6 is Palace. They're third over the last 6, in particular, really good, particularly at home as well. 4th over the season though as well. So City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and then Palace. I honestly, I sound like a broken record, but I never expected that. I never expected Vieira to get them playing that well and that solid with all the different signings they made, and his kind of inexperience in the Premier League. But yeah, he's done a great job with them. Looking at any of their defenders, Luke? They're just not very sexy, are they?
No, that's the problem. I mean, I could go with Guita, but I just think Pickford at the moment's standing up as the best option by quite a while. And then also Butland randomly came in for him, didn't him, the other day. So I don't think you can even chance that anymore, because that's happened a few times this season. So no, I mean, I do kind of like Mitchell, but even he's not been playing every single game. So yeah, I just don't think there's really an option. I think Anderson's okay, like on your bench or something if he comes in, but it's also their 2 away games. For some reason, I feel like Palace are slightly worse away from home, than they are at home. But I don't know if when I looked at the stats, it didn't necessarily say that. So that's probably just a little bit of bias. But I think when you've got other teams that have got the home games, like the Everton and the Aston Villa ones, it's hard to pick them. Yep.
Sorry, Mark. Anything on Palace?
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I think the only one. I mean, I've done a free hit team and I've got Anderson in there. I think it's because if you're going to go attacking players for the other teams, so if you're going to go Pickford in goal and 2 Everton attackers, you haven't got that option of going an Everton defender as well, then that's where Anderson creeps in. So it's similarly for Villa, if you're going Coutinho and Watkins, maybe you only have one Villa defender and you can't have two. And if you're going to get a doubler, you're then looking at, well, maybe Palace is the next best option. And looking at this data, I think you can go to Anderson and think, well, I might be able to get at least one clean sheet out of that. Plus, every now and then he gets an assist. So, yeah, I think it's encouraging what Vieira's done. I mean, like what I just said about the next season threatening to be dull, perhaps not if Eze and Elise and Zaha kick on under Vieira, which is entirely possible. They've shown glimpses this season, but it's only really been Gallagher who's tempted us to commit to one of their players. None of those have actually, even the likes of Marteta and Benteke and Edouard, they haven't had enough solid runs in the team to convince us to commit to them. But maybe next season one of those, or more than one of those, will emerge, right?
That's the problem, right? There's just too many options there. When you add in 5 subs and Vieira with the early subs, at least now it feels like that's really dangerous. But hopefully, Elise's class, isn't he? So I hope he can sort of cement a position like Gallagher did. But it's very much at hope at this point, isn't it?
Yep. Looking at some other teams, so what we tend to look for in the last 6 is if teams are kind of changing on their season data to indicate a drop or a rise in performance. Villa are 7th over the season and 8th over the last 6. The only encouraging thing about Villa is they have had the 18th worst fixtures, so their defensive numbers are really good considering the fixtures they've had. Everton are 14th over the season and 13th over the last 6. So not exactly huge improvements there from them. Burnley is 16th over the season, 15th over the last 6. It's only Leicester that there's any kind of real significance. They've gone from 17th over the season to 12th, but they have the second best fixtures. Defence is tough, I think, with these teams. With only 2 weeks left, I guess you don't really want to be focusing on the defence is too much anyway. You could look at Anderson. I think you can look at Cash, someone like that. But other than that, I can't really see too much interest in.
I think it's Villa. I think with Cash and Deeney, you're getting attacking promise, right? And we saw it the other night. They do get forward. They have looked solid, Villa, in games. I think teams have got to work to break them down. So I think they're a fair bet for sure. And I mean, I've got the Diaz problem, so I'm probably going to go to a Villa defender as a route out of that. And I think when we look at data, there's probably a clear route to that. So I think that's it. Low in defence. I think it is Villa primarily. And then you're looking at an Everton defence, whether it be Pickford or you're going to go, Malenko or even Holgate or something like that, really. But
I think there's two random ones. And there's 3 random ones I think you could consider on free hit. And I think you guys will probably agree. So Spurs are home to Burnley, right? So I think Sessegnon may be one, but it's one game, so I'm not sure whether you go there. You've got Trent, obviously, away to Southampton, considering the amount of goals they're shipping at the moment. Would you still keep him in a free hit? I think that's a debate.
Yeah.
And then just as a complete rogue one, you got Wolves at home to Norwich. I know Wolves aren't the sexiest, but it is Norwich. So if you went for like Johnny or something like that as a wing back, maybe. But they still don't really trump the Aston Villa or the Everton, do they? For me, anyway, they're just sort of in that you doing it to be different, basically.
Yeah, I mean, in the free hit team I've submitted, I don't know if we're showing that tonight, that all of those players are in there. Yeah, they're all in there. So that's exactly what I was. Johnny's on the bench, Trent's in the team, and I've gone a Villa defender. I haven't gone Sessegnon, but it's close. Yeah, I think I went 2 Wolves defenders in the end, but Sessegnon's got to be in the thinking as well.
Because the problem as well with going for Everton and Villa, if you're not on a free hit, is then they go into City and Arsenal away in 38. So you need them to get some points in that double, and then you can massively weaken your team for that 38. But then again, there's so many goals in 38 anyway that maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe just stick on them and focus on the attack.
I actually think, isn't there potential for Everton to actually be safe by the second part of their double? I think I'm right in saying that. I think there is potential that they could actually be.
If Burnley lose to Spurs and Everton win tonight and win...
Everton's got to win tonight,
Yeah, so if that happens, then suddenly... I mean, we're going to talk about this at the end, I think, but suddenly that becomes Everton's last home game and they've just survived. Do they start messing around with the team?
I still think the likes of Richarlison and Gordon play. I don't think those.
I don't think he's got the players to mess around. No. There isn't a squad there, is there? Really, it's so bare bones.
But obviously the incentive to win is reduced, right? And anything could happen then in that game. So I get it definitely, and we wouldn't want that as FPL managers, would we? So it's mixed feelings about the fact that I want Everton to win tonight. Maybe not the way it's going. Yeah.
But they all have smiles on their faces, so that's the most important metric of
maybe that's it.
Not Richarlison, he's never seen a smile.
No, of course, no.
That's why he hasn't scored. I don't know why we brought him in. Stupid. Let's take a look at some attacking data. So all the teams with a double over the season are 10th or below. in the attacking data, minutes per XG non-pen. Palace are 10th, top of that, 70.6. Then you got Leicester, Villa, Burnley down in 15th, and Everton right the way down in 17th. Over the last 6 matches, would you believe it if I told you that Burnley were 3rd?
Incredible, isn't it?
For
When I
minutes
saw
per
that.
XG non-penalty, despite having the 14th, best fixture. So, only 6 teams with one worse than theirs. Leicester are right down the bottom. They have got a couple tonight, I think, or at least one. I think Vardy's just scored. And then you've got Villa in 6th, Palace in 10th, and Everton in 11th. So, apart from Leicester and Everton, and Palace are bang where they are, I mean, it's Burnley and Villa who are showing a bit of improvement, and with tough fixtures as well. I mean, Burnley have got a tough, particularly that Spurs game, but Villa have got a good double, really. So they're probably the ones to focus on, especially if Watkins is out. Maybe Ings is the one to get on a free hit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for a differential with a free hit, if you're trying to make up ground, Ings is the way to go. I mean, Watkins is a safe bet, and I think people who have moved with free transfers towards doublers have gone Watkins. So I think Ings would be my choice if I was trying to go out and gain ground. And he looks like he's settled in the style. It looks like he's playing with the 2 forwards now. Can he? I mean, I don't know about Coutinho, whether he's going to play both games, because Buendia was unlucky to be dropped. I mean, the news today is that Villa have almost sealed the deal from Barcelona, so perhaps he will get both games, but I've got doubts about it. But yeah, Villa are offering promise. Obviously, Everton with the motivation, and we've seen the improvement recently of the other attacking team to go for. Palace with Zaha. Zaha's been quite consistent recently, which isn't like him, and he's obviously one that a lot of people are fancying as well. But beyond that, I'm not enamoured by Leicester still. I just think the team is so hard to predict, and there's just no consistency in Rodgers' selection.
Yep. Luke, any interest in Burnley? Wout signs are good.
No. They're away to Villa and away to Spurs, aren't they? So it's just, I'm very much a fixtures person, although the stats look good recently. It's not for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought you might say that. Let's take a look at some differentials. I mean, if you captain De Bruyne with a hat-trick in the system, he's going to get like 26 points or something, isn't he? So that is another massive swing. I told you to buy De Bruyne last week, Mark. Just saying.
Yeah, and again, it's this season. Like,
Crazy.
people think I'm crazy saying that when it comes to those split decisions, it's been extreme this season. And look what's happened. Salah only plays one on the double, and De Bruyne comes in massively. And there's Son to play tomorrow night, and it'll be like this season for Son to bang as well. And then those who captain Salah get absolutely punished when it looked like the logical move to do. And yet, if you gambled and you went De Bruyne, then it's been a massive gain, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So
It's just
good luck to those who did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to beat yourself up and be like, why didn't I get De Bruyne? He had a good double on that, but it was hard. It's hard to get him, without sacrificing Salah, Son, or Kane. I just couldn't do it unless I'd got rid of Kane and taken the -8.
Well, I had a look at Kane, but then the factor is Burnley and Norwich last 2.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
exactly.
you'd have to
And
do a
let's not
hokey
forget,
cokey maybe.
When you were going to bring him in, De Bruyne got benched that week.
Yeah.
And you got Son, so I know it pays back now, but at the time you'd be feeling awful if you'd have went for him.
Huge
Absolutely.
swing.
I nearly did go De Bruyne, didn't I? It was a split decision, so I got the points from Son. So, unless you're moving about and you're catching the variance as you go, which some may have done, right? Then
Wouldn't know
perhaps
anything
that's
about
the
that.
lesson. But yeah,
Well, until this week with De Bruyne, there's not really been any, hasn't it? It's been have you had Son or have you not? That has pretty much been like the last sort of 6-7 weeks for most FPL players. So to be fair, that hasn't really happened till now.
Yeah, I just hope there wasn't those out there who went De Bruyne over Salah. That didn't come in, and then they went, I'll move back to Salah. I mean, I'm sure there were.
There will be.
Sure there were. And then that would be difficult to take, and I'm sure that's happened.
Anyway, if you didn't bring in De Bruyne like me and Mark, and if you did have a foresight of Luke, then well done. But if you didn't like Mark and I, then you probably need to start having a look at some differentials going into 37. So what you've done here, Mark, is a chart which is just looking at the effective ownership of the different sort of main players in the top 10k, top 100k, and the models here with the.
So this is Rate My Team.
Predicted points.
This is Rate My Team and FBL Review merged and an average of the two.
Yep.
So this is what the model projects for their points in 37. And then, like you say, I've highlighted the players with the low ownership that I think can probably, if you're playing a free hit and you're trying to make up ground, these are the players that I would recommend based on what the model is saying and based on ownership. And we've mentioned some of these names already. And I think when we look at the data in more detail, they're going to stand out there as well. But that's not to say Richarlison, Watkins, Pickford, Coutinho, these are players that should be perhaps the nucleus of a free hit team. But around that, I think you've got to scatter some of those in blue because they could be the really big gains.
Yeah, just to name some of these, Martinez 0.5%, he owned top 10k. Luca Dean 1.6%, which is quite high because he was out for a while. I think for maybe some residual ones. I love this one, Zaha 0.7%. I mean, he'd be a lock for my free hit team. I'd even consider captaining. I think given he's on penalties, potentially playing up front, all of that. Danny Ings 0.09%. I mean, you can't get a better differential than that. In the top 10k, 0.13 in the top 100k. Then you've got Damari Gray and Mikalenko. So yeah, there's definitely some options here to consider. Like
I mean, I think free hit teams have some potential this week by honing on some of these names, but they're not reliable. But that's the nature of a free hit. You're taking a risk, aren't you?
Yep. Luke, I liked your free hit. We're going to look at it later. It's got a couple of these guys.
I think a lot of these are differential now, but in terms of the free hits, obviously a lot of those will actually be included in them. Like Zaha, Ings now looking the preferential option as we see because of the injury. But I think the real differentials there are like Gray and Mikalenko. I can't even say that. Is it Mikalenko?
Mikalenko.
Okay, I wanted to throw Michael Jackson in there as well just to make it better. I think Gray and him are sort of potential avenues because Pickford looks like he's probably the standout option in goal, but I guess you could go elsewhere. And then obviously Richarlison looks pretty much a lock. So I think the other person most people have is Gordon for obvious reasons, but it doesn't feel like massively sexy. It feels like you could go Gray, who's taken a few of the set pieces away from him and maybe differentiate yourself there. So I kind of like that one. Or maybe you just look at it and go, well, Everton have got 2 home games. You know, you go with the double defence instead of the midfielder, because obviously they need to get some sort of attacking return in midfield, don't they? Whereas he just needs to get 1 clean sheet, and he's probably matched him. If he throws an assist or a goal, then that'll be decent. So I think there's avenues with Everton, certainly. I don't think it's just 100% you have these 3. I think outside Richarlison, there's a little bit of playground work there.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree. I think those who haven't got the free hit and who've moved with transfers have gone Richarlison and Gordon, and so moving away from at least one of those is probably the way to go with a free hit.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to pick Buendia, but you just think that he's probably going to play one, isn't he?
I think so.
And that's the unfortunate part about that, because did you see Gerrard's interview actually, where he said afterwards we look a bit of a better threat when we've got the both of them up front. So if we presume that Watkins is okay and he plays, do you think he will play both up front and then the one in behind for both the games?
Yeah, I think he'll play Ings and Watkins with one of Coutinho and Buendia, and he'll just rotate the 2. I would have thought over the 2 games, and he'll save Coutinho for the final game. Yeah, they'll get one each with Buendia playing the second and Coutinho playing on the final day at City. Probably the way it will go, I would guess, if I had to say.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not fancying Coutinho for 2 games at all.
No, and I mean, I suppose we don't know the Watkins news now, but Ings on penalties, isn't he? I think that's right.
You think?
Yeah. So I think it's pretty obvious to go for him. But in terms of minutes, if Watkins is fit, then he's obviously been the king there. So it is a little bit of a risk where you think, if it's not quite working, it's more likely to be Ings that comes off than him. So that's the other consideration. But
someone we haven't mentioned is somebody who just got a brace. That's Vardy. He's got 2 for Leicester now.
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to what Mark says. If you think he plays, then he is definitely a very, very good option to have, isn't he? Because he's explosive, as we know. So it's just, do you think he plays both the games? And it's a risk on minutes rather than the actual player. We know he's got the pedigree for many, many years. So that Watford game that they play could be a bloodbath.
Oh, Barnes with 2 assists, sold him. It's great. I'm really loving this week.
Treating you well, isn't it?
Yeah, done. Yeah, nasty. Let's take a look at some data. Let's start with keepers. We won't spend too much time on this because we want to talk about the more exciting players. Let's look at goalkeepers over the season. Out of the options we've got Guaita in 10th, but Butland coming in surely means we can't go down that route. Pope in 12th, Martinez 13th. This is filtered by minutes per points. Schmeichel down in 18th, and the mighty Pickford in 20th. I mean, it's Pickford that I like the most, probably, with the 2 home games, but the season data, the points wise, hasn't been that great. But on for a clean sheet tonight, looking a bit more solid. He's the one I'd go for, I think, on a free hit. And
he's dragging them through, and he's getting the save points as well, isn't he? Right, so I think over recent games, he's got 12 saves over the last 2 games, right? So he's suddenly leapt up from getting 3 or 4 saves a game to like 5, 6, 7. And when you're doing that, you're in line for bonus, right? He's not getting any saves tonight because he's playing Watford. But I think in the home games against Brentford and Palace, I think he'll get a decent amount of saves, and then he'll be in the mix if they keep a clean sheet. So if Everton win those games narrowly or don't score and it's a 0-0, I think Pickford's always going to be in the hat for bonus, right? So I think he's ahead of Schmeichel. I think I said that last week. So I think he's the free hit of choice now. Yeah.
Just to add on that, away from home, and I looked at this earlier in the day. Away from home, expected goals from open play. You've got Brentford as the third worst team with only 12 expected goals away from home all season. That's Crystal Palace as well with 12. So both those teams away from home, right in the bottom sort of 5 or 6 teams. Only Norwich are on 9, Burnley on 10. So yeah, you'd have to fancy at least one clean sheet there, surely. So that just
I think you've got to cover the Everton defence with Pickford or one defender at least. And like you say, the differential will be going 2 defenders, right?
Did you ever think you'd be saying that?
Mikalenko.
Got to cover the Everton defence.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but it does look like that when you look at that data for Palace and Brentford, and the fact that Everton will still have some motivation, it seems.
Yep, agreed. Let's look at defenders. Defenders over the season. Again, we're focusing on the double game week players. We've got Trent at the top. This is filled by minutes per expected goal involvement on penny. So we're looking at the kind of the ones with attacking potential. We've got the most likely ones: Trent, Doherty, Reece James, Cancelo, Reguilon, Alonso. These are all your top 6. The first name that we've got from the doublers is Ricardo Pereira. I think he's injured, isn't he? He's out for a bit. So we've got to go right down to 31st to get our next name, which is Cash. And then in 35th, you've got Dean. And then down in 54th, you've got Mikalenko. So, I mean, we haven't exactly got a huge pool of really attacking defenders to choose from. I think it's just Cash or Dean, really. They're the only ones where I'd be hopeful of getting some attacking stuff.
Unless you're going to take a punt on Collins at set pieces, who has been a threat, right? I mean, something like that. I mean, Mina's not there as an option. Otherwise, I think him at set pieces, I've said before, but he's out of the equation. So Mikalenko's the Everton weapon of choice. And then it's Cash and Dina, isn't it? And I think Dina, if you look at the last 6 game weeks, he's ahead of Cash at the moment. So I think Dina's offering that little bit more coming forward in terms of supply. I think he was unlucky not to get an assist last night. I think the Lewis initial header was saved, and then he put in the rebound, didn't he? That was a Dina cross. I think that Dina's just got that little bit more quality with his deliveries than Cash. I think Cash is more of a goal threat, but Dina's service is good, and he's got some set pieces, you'd think, as well. So for me, Dina's the one, and particularly when you factor in the ownership, as we saw earlier. If you're going to make up ground, Dina's the one, I think. It's whether or not he gets injured in one of the games, because that's what he's done all season for us. He's trolled us massively.
He's the player. He's got a good double game week. Coming to the end of the season, he's just recovered from this miraculous injury, and you think, he's going to be fine and score, and and he misses one of the games. I think he is the ultimate troll. I haven't been burned too hard.
I have.
You have, yeah.
But if there's balance in the universe, then this is where he goes big, right? This is where he pays. I've transferred him in probably 3 times this season alone. So surely he can get something in this double. I much prefer him as well. I think even from the last game they played from open play, he had a couple of shots where the ball he sort of brought himself right up to the edge of the penalty yard a couple of times. He blazed one over the bar. I think he. I mean, look at those numbers. They're not great for attacking out, are they? 625 minutes. So you're going to have to get a little bit of luck. But I do like him slightly more than Cash.
Yep. Looking over the last 6, you got Collins, who you just mentioned. Mark coming up top of the pile out of these guys, 18th. Dean 21st and Cash 29th. So over the season, it's Cash that looking better, but over the last 6 since Dean's come back, he's looked good. Mikalenko up to 35th. I mean, he missed like a sitter against Chelsea, which I think massively helps his minutes. And then you're looking at like Holgate 47th, Anderson 48th. Again, you're going quite down. So again, looking at the season and the last 6 to try and find a bit of a gem. There isn't too much standing out in the way of these kind of really attacking guys. I think if you want to play it safe, you get one of the Palace guys because the defensive data is good. But if you want to be a bit more exciting, then you go for one of Cash or Dean.
But look at that minutes per chance created. Dean is top out of all the defenders over the last 6 game weeks.
Yeah.
So he's ahead of Trent. He's ahead of Alonso. 30.2 minutes per chance created. That's why you go Dina, because he's not just better than Cash, he's better than any other defender over the last 6 game weeks. Yeah. So, it's quite convincing, isn't it?
You talk about Cash with his shots, but he's not in the top 10 for that. I mean, you've got Alonso 31.8, Cash down to 77.1. So you're getting one shot a match from him, potentially. get more from that from others.
Yeah, and only 3 starts for Sessegnon, but he has to be mentioned because he is in the top 6. So again, if you're going to just look for the attacking, he's on a different planet to those other ones, I would say, just because of the system more than anything. But he's similar, I guess. I know it's only one match, but can you trust him to even last the 90 minutes? This is the problem. But yeah, decent differential. I've seen a few people go with. So
yep, I like him. Let's have a look at midfielders. Getting a bit more spicy now, hopefully. Midfielders over the season. Look at that, Elise coming in at 22nd. Minutes per expected goal over non-pen, 201.6. We've talked about whether he can be an impact for us going forward. Talent's there, numbers are there. Can he start actually getting some returns for us? You've got Maddison in at 24th. Coutinho, 27th. Harvey Barnes, he's really broken my heart tonight with those 2 assists. Down in 30th. It's surprising to see Zaha so low down. You've got to go right down to 52nd.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was going to bring this up actually when you said he's locked. He's actually got terrible non-penalty XGI. If you take the penalties out, it's like 0.16 or something across the season. It's really, really bad. It's just because with him, you can be pretty sure he's going to get 180 minutes and he's on penalties, isn't it? And there's this slight sort of whiff of he might play up front. I'm not sure.
Well,
about that
13 goals is a great return as well. 13 goals is second only to the Liverpool pair, Jota and Mane, right? So that's the big thing. And the fixtures are pretty good. So I'm tempted to switch from Coutinho to Zaha. I'd be for a hit, but is it worth it? At this stage of the season, it's probably worth a roll of the dice. I'm thinking about it. Coutinho, I look at and think if you look when we move to the last 6 game weeks, he's really dropped down the table a lot. And also, I think Buendia surely deserves a start over the 2. So I'm tempted by Zaha, definitely, even though the data doesn't look great.
Maddison's just scored 3-0. So
has he? Madders.
Bigger red.
One of your darlings. It's getting worse for you, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure I'm on the end. I need Son tomorrow now to do something so I can hold ground. I think at the moment. So,
I'm down to 5k.
Right.
I know. That means I know. I'm gonna be battling for top 10k.
Was FPL review correct? Maybe FPL review was right. Maybe I've only got a 15% chance of making the top 10k.
Oh no! It got in my head. That did.
Shouldn't laugh.
It's got in my head. It's mind games.
I know. You've lost it. The model's got to you. Yeah.
You got to laugh at me. You cry.
Yeah.
Over the last 6, I mean, another unlikely name at the top of this list, Maxwell Cornet, up in second, 127. How's that for a punt? Harvey Barnes, signs were there in 11th when he plays. He does all right. You just never know when he's going to start. And then you got Anthony Gordon. He's not doing anything for us. Mark, we need something from him. Tonight, look at that though. Coutinho right down in 54th, 358.5 minutes. I mean, that is crazy low, isn't it, for someone of his quality?
Minutes per shot in the box, 126.7. Zaha's on 29.3, considerably better in terms of shots in the box, and that's what's tempting. Like Zaha's in the top 10 for midfielders of the last 6 for both shots and shots in the box, and Coutinho's nowhere near it. So, yeah, I mean, that's why for me, there's an argument there for the hit to move to him.
They must have been some awful shots for him to be so low on the XG as well.
Yeah, he's not the most accurate of finishers, is he? Let's face it. But he has got 4 goals in 5 games. So, how many of those are penalties? A couple, maybe. But even I think he has looked dangerous.
Sure.
Yeah, but they've got players like Zaha and Elisa, they're just always going to get penalties. Well, not always, but they're so likely to.
Oh, not this again. The Man United narrative. They got wingers. Bruno will always get penalties. I'm not having that one.
No. Yeah. Well, I think Zaha's got to be the most foul player in the league this season, surely. He's normally
good
right
reason.
Up.
Everyone hates him, I think.
Yeah, he's normally right up there. But, if he's winning penalties and then scoring them, it's a pretty big... string to his bow.
I always worry when he goes up to the penalty spot, though, don't you guys? It feels like
he's not convincing.
He's not.
Has he missed one yet?
Yeah, he has missed one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elise in 21st, though. I know it's only the last 6. Again, the minutes are low, and it's just whether you think he plays. But if you're literally that's it. I mean, this is literally if you're sat at 400k and you don't care anymore and you want to be different, then why not look at Elise? But other than that, you're not really going to touch it. But it's just interesting. Maybe potential for next season more than anything, like we were saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I think like we talk about who's going to be the Martinelli, the one who's got data, who could break into the team next season, and Elise fits that bill, doesn't he? As a player that could be around, I doubt he'll be more than 5.5 next season, maybe 6. And if he does break into the Palace team regularly, the data suggests he's going to be a factor. So definitely one to watch for next season. Yeah.
Yep. Forwards, always our favourite bit of this. Forwards over the season. I mean, oh god,
Wow.
some of the names on here. Mateta's top in 7th, 160.9. We can't guarantee he's going to start. Benteke's next in 11th, 168.4.
How is Haaland going to cope with this company next season?
Can't cope with that. And then you've got Edwards. You've got the 3 Crystal Palace strikers in 7th, 11th and 14th. They're like our best bets for attacking returns from our forwards. And then you've got Vidra in 15th. Oh, man. And then you've got like Vardy, 16th. Obviously, 2 goals tonight is going to help. I can't believe it. You've got to go right down to 33rd to find Richarlison.
Yeah. Well, he's only just started coming into form, hasn't he? In the last maybe 6-7 weeks that he's starting to show that he can carry the can for Everton. I guess he's been in and out of the team. He's had injury problems. But 8 goals, 5 assists over the season's a fair return. And he could add to that. He hasn't added to it tonight so far, but with the games left, he could break double figures, which is a reasonable return for a player who hasn't been necessarily nailed on or not playing down the middle every game either. He's been playing out wide with Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's been massively disappointing this season, hasn't he? I know the injuries have told as well, but do we expect him to get back to his best next season?
Well, this
won't be Everton.
I was going to say, he's on the bench again today, isn't he? So let's say that is he not going to play in 37? And if he plays in 37, does that mean Richarlison goes out to the left? And then are we worried about captaining him? Because I think he's probably the most popular captain. Is that even a thing?
Well, if Everton don't win tonight, I think they've got that motivation for both games. I think Richarlison plays up front and Calvert-Lewin doesn't play. I don't think Calvert-Lewin's fit. I still don't think he's fit.
You don't think he'll get a start?
No. Don't think he's fit enough to start. I think he's, he can come on and give you 20 minutes, but I don't think he's a starter for them. He can't be, because otherwise I think he would have started him before now. I think Richarlison's been flogged, really, because he's the only one I think they can rely on to start and finish a game out of the 2.
I think it's worth thinking about, because if it does happen, not only does Richarlison potentially go out to the left, but then you've got the knock-on effect for Gordon and Gray, right? One of them will probably end up dropping out. So, it's not... And that just, from my own point of view, that's what then draws me back to, well, do I go double Everton defence instead? Rather than go for the Gordon or the Gray, just in case that happens. It probably won't happen, but we've already seen a lot of things that we don't know are going to happen seem to happen in double game weeks where players just turn up or don't turn up. So, maybe go the double defence route. It's in my mind anyway, but like you say, Calvert-Lewin would have to basically rise from the dead at this point for that to occur, but we'll see.
I mean, you look at these names, though, for our free hits or whatever. The only players you're going to consider from this list are Richarlison in 33rd, Watkins in 24th. He's got the injury. Ings isn't on here because he hasn't played enough over the last few games. And maybe Vardy. That's it, right? There's no other...
Well, Ings is on there. He's down in 36th.
Oh, is it? Oh, he is down there. Oh, I didn't even see him. Yeah, right down in 36. Yeah, that is low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's slim pickings, isn't it? As it's been all season for forwards, so it's not a surprise. I think Richarlison's a shoe-in anyway. Given that he's got penalties as well, I think he's got to be in there. And then it's whether you go Ings or Watkins, I guess, in the free hit.
Well, there's also Kane,
beyond
let's not
that,
forget. I think he'll be popular.
Oh, yeah, single game week.
Yeah.
I mean, if we switch over to the last 6 game weeks, though, then it's a little bit more kind of encouraging. Ings goes up to 3rd. 117.4. He's just obviously the differential to go for. He's like the perfect free hit player. Yeah, I think it's just tailor made for him to blank twice for you if you want to get him in. But all the signs are there. That's going to look good. Richarlison's up to 11th, 155.4. So he's like halved his minutes per XGI non-penalty over the last 6 compared to the season. Look at your mate Weghorst up to 14th. You playing him, Mark?
No, he'll be first sub. I'm going to hold on to him. I might need him, though. But yeah, it's hard to... I mean, I don't know if he'll get both starts, but even when he does, again, you look at Richarlison and Watkins, and they're in the top 10 as is Ings for shots and shots in the box. So there's a good enough cast where you haven't got to turn to Weghorst, but having kept him all this time, he's all right as a first sub. And if I need to reach anything really high up on a shelf, he's really handy for that. So he's great to have.
Or just stop a door from opening or anything like that. Surely you got to play him in a double. Surely you have. Who are you playing ahead of him? Because you're not free hitting, are you?
Anyone?
No, I'm not free hitting. When you get to my team, I've got a lot of good single game week players. So I've got Kane, Kulusevski, Saka, and Son I'm not going to not play any of those unless Saka's not fit.
Wow.
Right? If Saka's not fit, then Weghorst comes in. But I've got Coutinho, Gordon, and Richarlison in the other slot, so I'm playing 3-5-2. And my single game week players, I've got the 3 Spurs at home to Burnley. I'm going to play them all, aren't I? So, and then it's do I play Saka at Newcastle or Weghorst? Probably Saka, right? It's the motivation, isn't it? I mean, Burnley have got it, but Weghorst seems to need a bit more than that to actually get an end product. I still stick to the fact I think he's a fair player. I think if we might see a bit more of him next season, maybe if Burnley get some players who can play with him, but depends what league they're in, right? That's not over yet, is it? Far from over.
I can't see Leeds picking up any more points between the end of the season. I think Burnley are going to do it. I can't quite believe it, but yeah, crazy. I mean, we haven't spoken about my bench boost forward. He's in 24th. Hwang Hee-chan. Yep.
Yeah, he is.
Not sure if he started tonight. I don't believe he has. No, that's good. So he's gonna have to go. Who the hell do I move him to? I haven't got loads of cash.
Look, minutes per point, 42.9.
Yep, great.
Is that the worst on that table? No, it's not quite. You can go down to Cucho, who's got 58.5. It's the second or third worst on the
where's
table.
Where's Broja? 42 point. Oh, he's better than.
Is it
he's
for both
worse than
weeks though?
Broja.
It's got to be Nketiah, hasn't it? If it's for 2 weeks, including.
Oh,
38.
but that is so dull. It is.
Oh, I don't know.
And also, I'm playing Dubravka this week. I think Newcastle can do a job on Arsenal. They've got a big game tomorrow, Thursday night, final game at St James's Park. I'm not sure Nketiah is gonna, but yeah, I mean, realistically, it probably does have to be him because I can't afford to go up to Ings.
It's more to do with the fact that he's home to Everton in the final day, and Everton presumably, I mean, first of all, they're terrible away from home, but they'll also be safe by that point, won't they? So, you'd have thought.
God, you wonder why I'm dropping down the ranks, and you remember that I've got players like Hwang in my side. You got rid of Podence now, haven't you, Mark?
No, Podence is gone. Yeah, Podence is gone. I can't take a -12 and keep Podence, could I? I have kept Saiz though.
Yeah,
I've kept Saiz, who was dropped completely from the squad today. I don't know where he's gone. So he's still knocking about. I kept him because they got Norwich at home and thinking, if I need a sub, then maybe. But he's not even turned up tonight. So I don't know what's happened there. Hopefully he's ill or something, and he can come back in against Norwich. But
hopefully he's ill.
I don't know. Yeah.
That'd be the ultimate
as in he's not injured.
Take a -12 and keep Podence.
Yeah, that would be incredible, wouldn't it? But I've still got Saiz and Shah, who are. My bench of shame is Weghorst, Saiz and Shah. I'm not sure who wins the award there for most waste of space, but yeah, there we go.
Let's just have a quick recap of the player data over the season. Obviously, you've got Salah and Jota at the top, as they always are. And then like some Mane, Mahrez. We can't shift Bergwijn. He's just going to be there in 5th.
Yeah.
He's
when he comes on, he's electric, isn't he, basically?
I think 9.7 minutes per point is the best of all players over the season. So, yeah, when he comes off the bench, he's absolutely electric. You've got to go down to 18th for Mateta over the season. But again, we talked about him. And then Benteke in 24th. No other double game players in the top 30. Edouard 35th. Maddison 48th. Ings 94th. I mean, we talk about Ings, being this kind of perfect free hit player. I've been really disappointed with him this season.
Oh, he's been a terrible season till now. Only now is he looking sharper. There is visibly a lift in his energy. He's wanting the ball. He's looking much more tidy on the ball. He's looking dangerous. He looks like the player he was, right? So I think that's what's encouraging. But most of the season, he's been a shadow of himself, hasn't he, with injury? And I think he admits that. I think he says.
They've just struggled to find a formation that works for both of them, haven't they? It's Watkins and him just hadn't really worked, but in recent weeks they've been sort of interchanging quite well and working quite well. That's why I am slightly worried if Watkins is actually injured, because suddenly it's different again and it's Ings up top on his own with 2 wide players, which hasn't really worked for Ings in the past. That would worry me.
He likes that. He likes that dynamic Shane Long type, Watkins type player next to him for sure. Yeah,
2 up top scenario where he sort of flourished, and
same as Ronaldo.
It seems to have worked for Villa as soon as they've gone to that. So that is a slight concern. But I mean, do you see his finish the other day again when he was offside? He looks like he's bang at it. So hopefully that won't matter. But there we go.
Yep. Because played out over the last 6, he's 3rd. So again, we talked about him quite a lot on this anyway. I won't talk about too many of these players. If you've got Dewsbury Hall though, and you're holding on to him, hoping for points, he's down in 92nd. I wouldn't be too hopeful of him. Coutinho 90th though of all players over the last 6. Yeah, crazy that he's dropped so much in form. Right, Mark, let's actually, no, before we do that, let me just do my cheat sheet quickly. Likely attacking returns. This is based on fixtures and XGI score. This doesn't take into account expected minutes, so take it with a bit of a pinch of salt, because that's why Mateta's way up in first place for this. Watkins in second. Then you've got the likes of Cornet, Barnes, Vidra, Richarlison, Maddison. It's a pretty bleh list, if I'm being honest. There's not the only player I really like, probably in the top 10 that I trust is Richarlison. Maybe Maddison as well, but obviously with the Chelsea game, it's not too easy. If Watkins is fit, he's a decent option, but I'd go Ings over him. Given how
there's nothing that leaps out there that we haven't really covered yet,
Nope.
is there? There's no. I mean, I think now and again this list kind of helps with a name we haven't really talked about, but tonight I think we've done them to death, and I don't think anything leaps out here.
Nope.
So, yeah.
I think the only other one to consider is Maddison, just because if you think he's going to play both, I know the games aren't particularly good, but you got a brace again today, and he has been pretty damn good for most of the season when he actually plays, and I don't think anyone will really pick him on a free hit. So
Well, there's Vardy as well, isn't there? Right, you're saying Vardy and Maddison, I guess, they're the ones that break in that we didn't really consider before tonight, that we've got to now consider with tonight's returns. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's not just that; it's because they're out of Europe, right? So suddenly things have changed. He is a good player at the end of the day, playing for a good team, because Leicester really should be right up there in the league. They're not for obvious reasons, but they're a higher standard of team.
I just don't see either of them getting both games. Why would he play? Why would he flog them? Play them tonight and then twice in a week? 3 games in a week for Vardy and Maddison wouldn't make sense to me.
No, more chance with Maddison, I think. I definitely can't see it with Vardy. Not with Iheanacho and Daka there as well.
No, they've got 3 strikers, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
It would more be on the leap of faith that he just gets the games, because it's more just to point out that obviously they are, potentially a better team than Villarreal. They should be, given their league position and what their history is. It's just, you have to hope that he plays both, and then the fixtures aren't that great. So, just trying to pick something from that list, but it's hard, isn't it? It's pretty obvious, I think, the free hit, which I don't know if you guys have felt the same, but when we get to each sort of crossroads week where it's like, well, we're going to use a chip, when you go to actually look at what the chip looks like, it looks pretty obvious every time. I don't think that there's been like,
it has done all season.
It's like, this is the 11, and it's very hard to move away from it.
Apart from the week we did it, Mark, when we just...
Of course, that was incredibly... What, Mavericks,
Disaster and Will says, all 3 of you look incredibly sad. Well, none of us captain De Bruyne, so I genuinely do feel quite sad.
It's 3 Reds, right? It's 3 Reds again. I might cheer up tomorrow.
Oh, is it? That's good. Is he?
Was he? Oh,
he'll be everyone's captain in the Sky, won't he?
No, he's not that popular. 53 points so far. Add man of the match on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Playing the wrong game, as
I know, absolutely. Let's take a look at your free hit team, then, Mark, that you put together. Do you want to read it out? And it's a lot of names
it is, and this was done with my budget in mind. So I just transformed my team into that, and it's quite interesting what you can afford to get. I'm just waiting for YouTube to catch up because I'm a little bit behind. But I think I've gone Pickford in goal, right? And we've talked about him earlier as I think the standout keeper. I think that's fair enough. And then that meant that because I've got Gordon and Richarlison, I've had to go Anderson for my third defender. I've gone Dino over Cash, and I've kept Robertson. Robertson obviously is probably more certain to play at Southampton than Trent now, but given that what Klopp's done with Salah, we can't put it beyond doubt that he could even rotate Trent. I doubt it, but you just never know. So I think Robertson's the most assured starter there in that Liverpool back line. So I've gone for him. So it's Pickford, Robertson, Dino, Anderson. Then in midfield, Son, I think you've got to go for him, given that he's got the home game in the form against Burnley. He scored that wonder goal against Burnley, of course, and the form is in. You'd expect even a double figure at this point. If anyone's going to score for Spurs, you think Son will be in on the action. I've gone Maddison, Zaha, Coutinho, Gordon. The Maddison we spoke about just now is probably more likely than Vardy to start both. That's a differential pick, but I think, he should get minutes in both games, I think, and could be involved in their okay fixtures. I mean, even at Chelsea, they can cause Chelsea defence problems, I think, which is more than Leeds did tonight. So that's the midfield. Son, Maddison, Zaha, Coutinho and Gordon. And up front, Ings and Richarlison. I think Ings is the differential pick, as we've said, and Richarlison, I think, hard to look beyond him. And I put the captaincy on Richarlison and the vice-captaincy on Son. On the bench, Schmeichel, Marteta, Johnny and Cody, the 2 Wolves defenders. But you could go Sessegnon in there as well. So I haven't gone Salah. I decided not to do that because I think in my position I wouldn't do. So I'm picking a free hit team that I would go for here. So it hasn't got Salah because I'm trying to go for differentials. So it's very much from my perspective, but obviously I imagine most free hit teams will probably still include Salah.
I can't believe you'd include Coutinho on your free hit, given what he's done, what he's been doing for you lately. How much you don't like him.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on the Watkins injury, right? If Watkins is out, then I think Casino plays both games, so it is dependent on that team news. Where would I go elsewhere? I don't know how much I've got in the bank, so he probably is hanging. But I mean, Maddison and Casino are definitely players that are interchangeable, and they could be traded out. But at the moment, if I would presume that Watkins is not going to be fit, then I think Coutinho could get both, but I doubt it.
Would you not use because obviously Liverpool play the cup, right? And we can't really answer it now, but we will see it before because the deadline's Sunday, and then obviously they play Saturday in the cup, and then it could be 120 minutes, could be whatever. But would you not pick
Jota?
One of either Jota, Diaz, or someone like that in that spot? Because I mean they're playing Southampton, and as we know, they're the team that's shipping the most goals. So
thought about it. I thought I'd give my Jota fixation, my Jota fetish a rest for 1 week, but as you mentioned him, then he would be pretty
get the
obvious
whiteboard down.
The back wall comes out again. I didn't crack the case of the double game week, but it obviously is a temptation because I don't think he's in that cup final 3. I think it's Salah, Mane, Diaz as I predicted. I think that probably will be the case. And therefore, you've got to think he's going to rest one of them at Southampton, right? Who would it be? Mane? I mean, Mane started 8 in a row now, hasn't he? But they need him, don't they?
But we're not sure this even matters. I think I saw a tweet by
KDB again
for...
Has he got a 4th goal?
Unbelievable. If you've triple captained him this week, I think a few will have done that. A few will have triple captained him.
Blimey. I tell you what, Kane's going to have to go absolutely bonkers against Burnley and Norwich to pay this back, isn't he? But fair enough.
I'll tell you who's not going to be happy with me, and that's Kelly Sommers, because she showed me a couple of different teams that she was looking at, and I was like, the KDB one, that's too much surgery. You don't go for him. He might have a bit of an injury. Yeah, she won't be happy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I was just going to say, Diaz, I think I saw it on Twitter, Apple Bonker said that he's actually played more top-level competitive matches this season than any other player, as in not just in the league, I'm talking about in Europe. Yeah, consecutively, because of obviously Portugal.
Doesn't look like it, does it?
Tournaments, no, and he's on fire. So it just shows you, again, it's not necessarily about minutes, right? This guy's been all over the world. He's he's played in 3 different countries now. Did he play? He did play in the mid-competition, didn't he? International one, pretty sure.
Yeah.
So he plays for Colombia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just shows you it's not necessarily down to the minutes. He's obviously coping with it very, very well because he looks absolutely electric every time he takes to the field.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, congrats, I think, to Peace Bockhyde, who's triple captain KDB. He's in the chat celebrating, so well played. Wow, what a result. Unbelievable. You kept your triple captain all this time, and you've taken the risk to go beyond Salah. Well played. Yeah. You couldn't see it, could you? Couldn't see it because, again, what minute are we in now and KDB's still on the pitch scoring goals? 60. I mean, that's the other thing. They're 3-1 up.
He's about to come off. This is the thing. He always comes off early. He's a risk.
Yeah, that's right.
Just comes off with 4 goals.
To get 4 goals in an hour. That's the thing, though, with KDB. You think, the risk was with him that if City get 2 or 3 up, he comes off.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what are the chances of him getting points amongst 2 or 3 goals? They've scored 4 goals and he's got them all. What? I mean, that's crazy variance, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas in previous games they've won 5-0, and KDB's got 1 assist. They've won games by 4 or 5-0, and KDB's got very little. And then tonight, in a double game week where some have gone from Salah to KDB and captained him or even triple captain, he's gone and got all 4 goals. That's crazy. Crazy, isn't it?
It's Jesus all over
That's
again.
this season all over, really. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic stuff, though, for those who
his
got on
date. His date has never been. His date has been great, but it's never been to the level where you could expect 4 goals, is it? It's not like Sun levels and stuff like that as well.
It depends on his role in the team, though, doesn't it? Like, he has played that role where he has got forward a lot and taken a lot of shots. And he said it himself that at times this season he's been asked to be the one taking the shots rather than the one setting up. And obviously tonight that is the case, right? So a lot of it has to do with his role in the 11, and sometimes that can fall for him. Right? I mean, I've had him twice on a free hit, got nothing. Right, there you go then. So, yeah.
Oh God,
amazing stuff. we can only admire those who took the plunge of it. And I mean, I did think about it, and I would have captained him had I got him in. But I just didn't want to lose Kane, and so Kane's got to do really well for me over the last 3 games now.
Well, I think it's got to lead us to the question of, do we need to move for him? surely. Because if City are going to be this relentless, they've got 2 good games coming up in City and Villa. He's, you know...
they can win the title with 1 game to go, can't they? So then what do you do final game? So
well, the final game's their final home game.
They can wrap it up.
He's not going to rest him in their final home game.
No, he's going to play, but they're not going to go full tilt with the title already won, are they, at home to Villa? So what are you going to get in that game? So I guess if you think it's going to go to the final game and it's still going to be competitive against Villa, then there's definitely a case. But
is it okay to be annoyed that you didn't captain him and you captained Salah? Is that allowed?
No.
Am I allowed to be annoyed?
I would be annoyed at that. Yeah, no. In the confines of this stream, no. But on Twitter, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
oh no, I don't. No,
I want to see what you get.
Wouldn't dare do that.
Yeah.
God, what percentage? Well, this is going to. I'm going to be about 7k now, which I know it's still a good rank, but that's going to be like I was 980 going into this week.
Are we going to spend the rest of the podcast lamenting not having De Bruyne? Or should we just spend the next 25 minutes doing
basically,
that?
I'm very sad.
I sold Kane to get him. It actually worked. Well, it seems like it's worked, unless Kane scores 6 goals. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's early days yet. Don't worry. Kane can get 6 at Norwich on the final day. Don't worry.
It'll be Son who gets them, and I won't bloody own him.
Yeah.
Luke, do you want to do your free hit team now, or should we come to it a bit later?
I don't mind. We could just do it at the end because it is going to be my team, so we could just do it right at the end.
It's going to be your actual team.
Actual team. Yep. Right, we're not going to do Pot Noodles predictions because there's all these games happening. We couldn't do that live, so we're going to move straight on to our game week 37 predictions. We won't go through all of these because there's 3 of us and there's loads of them to get through. But some of the main ones for double game week, guys. Villa versus Palace. Luke and I both gone for a 1-0 Villa. Mark, you've gone for a 1-1 draw. And in Villa versus Burnley, Mark, you've gone for a 2-2, so 2 draws for Villa. And Luke and I have gone for a 1-0 and a 2-1 respectively. So Luke and I have gone for 2 Villa wins. They're good at home. You've been quite conservative with your Villa.
Yeah, well, don't forget Burnley are the 3rd best attack over the last 6. They true. Are it's true. Just like watching Brazil at the moment with Burnley. Who's going to stop Brownhill and Weghorst?
So you're not going to play Weghorst.
Well, this is it. I'm banking on him not being amongst the goals, strangely. So,
right, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I might end up playing him if Saka's injured anyway. So, but do you buy that Saka injury for the North London derby?
Not even for a second. Not even for a second.
Yeah. No, so I think he's all right.
He will absolutely play in that game. I've got absolutely no doubt. Watford, Leicester with the double. We've all gone for a Leicester win. 2-1. Well, Watford, surprising, like getting this result at the moment against Everton. It's finished 0-0 as well. So
I didn't predict that. I really thought I was going to be quids in with the 2 Everton attackers, but not to be.
Such a bad result for me. Pickford getting points, and it's been an absolute nightmare today. But Everton. Speaking of Everton, we've gone for different results here. This is quite. We've all gone for an Everton win against Brentford, which is quite surprising, given that Brentford are half decent. I've gone for a 1-0. Luke, you've gone for 2-0. Mark, you've gone for 2-1. But against Palace, we've all gone for a different result. I've gone for a 1-0 Palace. Mark, you've gone for a draw. And Luke, you've gone for a 1-0 Everton. Tricky game to call.
Yeah. Palace are a hard team to predict, aren't they? You don't know what you're going to get from them. I mean, it's going to be pretty tight. I don't see many goals in that. The Goodison crowd are obviously the 12th man, but I mean, Everton might not need a result there. So I guess... that's changing things as well. So, lots of variables for that game. Yep.
And the other team I just mentioned is Burnley. We've all gone for losses for Burnley, except for Mark with that draw against Villa. So I think, but Burnley they're the new Barcelona attacking wise, but I still think they're a team to target for your attacking players. I'm expecting Spurs to do well in that, and Villa have already put a couple past them away, so you're expecting that just to happen again, I imagine. At home. Cool. Let's talk captains. Captain Matrix this week. It's interesting players you've gone for in this Captain Matrix, Mark. Probably not the ones that I would have picked. You've gone for Richarlison as a primary candidate, Salah versus Southampton, and Coutinho. You're really feeling the Coutinho love.
Yeah, I think this was, this was going into before the matches this week, right? So it was put together before Buendia's appearance at the weekend and so on. So I think that's been the established names we've had in there. I think if you'd probably move Salah and Coutinho over to the differentials now, wouldn't you? And it would probably be Richarlison and Son you would consider. And I guess De Bruyne's got to come into it now. West Ham maybe. I don't know. I mean, it'd be difficult to think that De Bruyne is going to follow up his performance tonight with another massive return at West Ham. But I guess if you've got him, you're probably going to put the armband on him in that game as well. So I think the candidates have changed, as we'll look at the data in a minute. No, what?
I don't think people would captain Kevin De Bruyne away from home to West Ham. I don't think they would, even off the back of 4 goals. Surely not.
We might watch the highlights of City tonight and think, "Oh my god, are we going to go into that?" I like Ings. I like Ings. I think Ings is the Aston Villa player I'd consider with their 2 home games, or it's Richarlison. Although I'm a bit put off by the fact they can't even score against a patch-up Watford side, or it's Zaha. They're the 3 I like. I would give it to one of those over the single game weekers. I think there's only 2 weeks left. You've got to live on the edge a bit.
I actually think the best single game week captain would actually be Salah.
Do you? He looked sharp when he came on, didn't he? To be fair.
Well, I just think Southampton, out of all the teams there for the singles, the way they've been playing of late, they're the standout sort of single option. I mean, obviously Spurs are there as well, home to Burnley, but I think we have, even though Burnley have got injuries and they're playing slightly, obviously under a different manager, we have seen Spurs multiple times not do that well against a team that will sit and play a low block. Now, whether they'll do that under the new manager, I'm not 100% sure, but we have seen it quite a few times. Whereas we go back to our predictions, we've all got 3-0 or 4-0 to Liverpool down there. So if you go for one of their attackers, I think they're pretty decent. But yeah, captain is still going to be Richarlison for me probably. But I do like it as a bit of a differential.
Yeah. Nice. Game week 38 is going to be interesting. You've got Salah versus Wolves at home, Son versus Norwich at home, De Bruyne versus Aston Villa at home. Then you've got the Chelsea players all at home to Watford, and you've got even Arsenal at home to Everton. You've got some really, really nice home games for the top attacking sides. And you're going to have people going for different players and differential things. Captain is going to be all over the show, I think, that week.
I think Son will be my captain. I think that's at home this season he's so strong, and then Norwich have got it in them to let 4 or 5 goals in, haven't they, in a game which there's nothing to play for them other than pride.
Well,
so
my question is, do I move Kane over to Son, or do I just hope that Kane can have his one game where he outscores Son in that match? Because it's a risk, hell of a risk going out about Son with that golden boot chasing thing, and Kane, not really being on it for a while.
It is Norwich away rather than Norwich at home, so the graphic is actually incorrect. Spurs are at Norwich.
You've got Kane versus Norwich away, but then you've got Son versus...
Yeah, so that's...
Looking... Shoddy work. Well, I didn't spot it either, so it's my fault as well. Captain's data. Again, let's not bother about the season because Salah wins it all in all. But over the last 6, we've talked about Ings to death. He's got the best minutes per shot in the box, the best minutes per big chance, and the best minutes per expected goal involved but non-penalty. Then it's Salah. Then it's Son. Surprisingly, you think, given how relentless Son's been, I think it shows, not to panic too much with Salah, and also how good Ings has been, how good Ings' underlying stats are. But Son has got the best minutes per point, 7.9. That dwarfs everyone except for De Bruyne, who was 9.7. I don't even know what that's going to be now. It sounds like 4 minutes a point or something crazy. And then you've got Watkins sort of just below him. But yeah, I like, Ings, Watkins, Richarlison. They're all all the numbers are decent on this list. Salah and Son are good single game week options though, but I want the excitement of a double game week.
I think if we think Everton are going to need to get a result in both games, then I think Richarlison's the captain of choice. But going Son or Salah is a great, as it turns out, could be a differential amongst most of the active managers. So certainly if you're free hitting, you're likely to go a double game week, I would have thought. Luke, are you doing that, or are you going with Richarlison?
No, Richarlison's the obvious pick, isn't he? I'm playing sensible now, so Richarlison it is, captain in 2 home games. Just sit back, cup of tea, toast, slippers on. That's
He's so predictable, properly,
right?
But is Richarlison that much more obvious than Ings? For that, because Ings has got 2 home games as well. One of them's one of them's Burnley.
If you could say to me now, Ings plays 180 minutes, then I'd think about doing that instead. To be honest, because I think he's a better player. Basically, he's more likely to score a goal for me still. But yeah, we just don't know that, do we? That's the problem with him. Whereas Richarlison, outside of injury or a red card, you're pretty sure he is going to play most of it. But there is that thing I said, if Calvert-Lewin comes in, maybe he gets shifted to the wing and It's an option. I think it's one of those two. Definitely. They'll probably be captain and vice captain for most people. I would have thought maybe Zaha, but like I say, I just don't really like the 2 away games, and the fact that his non-penalty XGI is just really, really quite low. You're kind of relying on a penalty. It feels like to me.
Yeah.
Wang's on the pitch apparently.
It took me a second to work out what the hell you were talking about then.
Well, I'm just letting you know he's still alive, right? Because there is some doubts about whether he's still active, but he's still there, unlike Podence.
I bet you I sell him and he starts against Norwich at home.
Oh, yeah, when they go mad, wouldn't he?
Go mad. Yeah, it's just standard Wang. Data opponents, as Luke was saying, if you're looking over the last 6, it's Southampton that are the worst. 38.5 minutes per XG conceded non-penalty. Is worse than Watford, Burnley, Everton, Brentford. So the worst of the opponents of the game of the teams with 2 fixtures. Minutes per big chance considered every 24.5 minutes. Compare that to Palace every 270 minutes. So they're just not conceding a big chance every 3 games or something. It's crazy. Their numbers are really, really good.
I mean, that's worrying, isn't it, when the Richarlison captaincy that Palace defence is so strong. I am starting to doubt it now when I've got Son. And others have got Salah, so maybe there is a case against Richarlison in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's far trickier than I expected. I didn't expect Everton to struggle at Watford. The fact that they've drawn 0-0 tonight, I expected them to get a few goals there, and that's kind of made me think now. And when you look at this data, when you look at Palace and Brentford, I think, like Luke says, going 2 Everton defenders could be the way to go on the free hit rather than banking on goals from Everton.
Yeah.
And the Richarlison captain is certainly not a slam dunk.
He's not, but they're just a different beast at home, it seems. So it's been a theme the whole season, and it's been, I think last season it switched around under Ancelotti, but prior to that season they had this going on as well, where they were terrible away from home and pretty decent at home, and then COVID kind of switched it round, and then as soon as that finished, it's reverted again. Now that could just be, it's not exactly based on science or anything, is it? It could just be nonsense, but it does seem to be a consistent theme. So,
yep. Interesting. You still there, Luke?
Yeah, do I keep lagging out? I feel like it keeps disconnecting.
It's weird. It goes really quiet. Like there's no background at all when it's like you've cut out. But no, I think it's just a good mic, to be honest. Right, let's look at our teams then. I'm on a bench boost. Oh God. Okay, my team is Ramsdale in goal. Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, Cash, Salah, Saka, Kulusevski, Gordon, Kane. And I've got Richarlison captain at the moment. I don't think it's that bad a team. And I didn't think it was that bad a team going into this week. But it just didn't have the major players in it. The Port, De Bruyne, even Pickford, Foster. These guys have all got double-digit scores. And I've got one player with a double-digit score this week, which is Cancelo with 11. Trent, Robertson, Cash. They've all done enough. Richarlison, Gordon's been a big disappointment. Anyway, my bench boost at the moment is Dubravka, Hwang, Roberts... and Bruno Guimaraes. There you go.
At the start of the season, and when you envisaged your bench boost this season, you must have, this is probably 3 of the 4, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. I definitely thought Hwang would be there. Obviously, Connor Roberts. I'm not sure he'd signed at that point, but yeah, he was there. And obviously, Bruno hadn't signed, but I knew he would.
And Bruno, but perhaps not this one.
Yeah. In terms of my transfers, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I mean, obviously, Hwang needs to go if I'm going to bench boost. I might do Ramsdale to Pickford as well. For a -4 because two good home games for him, and then I played Dubravka in 38 against Burnley, so it will probably be Hwang to Nketiah and Ramsdale to Pickford for a -4. But that means no Son. Carrying on with no Son.
You've got to get a grip, because honestly, if Son does well tomorrow night, it's going to be you're going to slip to 5, 6, 7k, are you?
Well, I'm 6k now. So
so if Son does well tomorrow night, suddenly the top 10k is a threat, right? You've got to pull this round. What's going on?
I mean, tomorrow I've got Ramsdale, Kulusevski, Kane, and Saka all playing. So surely I can't get another red off the back of that. But I mean, I can if Son gets a hat trick.
Even Siri's commenting on that one there.
Is he?
FPL
review was right.
Yeah, exactly. So one AI to another. I think that. Yeah, it'll be unlikely you'll drop out the top 10k, but blimey, this is a real change. I mean, you've had what Luke and I have had all season. You look at the team and you think, what's wrong with that? It looks great.
512% red so far for me this season. That is my biggest ever by far.
Yeah, I've gone down. I've got a 70% red at the moment. I've gone down a lot as well, but obviously I've got, hopefully Son captain tomorrow can help me turn that around. But it's been a punishing evening, hasn't it?
It has.
Not for all of us.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely upset.
I'm on 99 points somehow now.
Wow,
well, I know how.
damn.
Kevin De
Blimey.
Bruyne.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically De Bruyne.
But in the back of your head, Luke, you'll be thinking, why didn't I captain him? Why didn't I captain him? Why didn't
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, always got to beat yourself up. And if it's any
Yeah,
consolation,
please.
I'll swap place with you. You can have 99 points, but I'll have your rank. How about that?
Yeah.
It does make me feel a little bit better. Yeah. Anyway, they're my moves. It's gonna Hwang to Nketiah and Ramsdale to Pickford seems that means I've got a little bit in the bank next week as well to bring in Reece James at home to Watford as well. And I want to end, if I can end the season playing Gomerish and James, who have been so good for me all year, then I'll be quite happy as long as I actually do something.
Gomerish has got you one return, been good for you all year.
One returning one game, 100% strike rate.
You got that memory of running up and down the stairs, and you're thinking he's been good for you all year, isn't it? Not buying that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Mark, your team. Do you want to just go through it for the podcast listeners?
Yeah, when I catch up, let me bring it up on here. I know I've got Pickford in goal. Let me just get it up on my screen. Pickford in goal. I'll be playing Trent. Diaz is in there at the moment, or Saiz, but Saiz didn't turn up tonight, so it's going to have to be Diaz out. I probably will do Diaz to Dina for one move. So it'll be probably Pickford, Trent, Dina, Cancelo, Son, Saka, Kulusevski, Coutinho, Gordon, Kane, and Richarlison. I think it's a good team, and I could do the extra move, which would be Coutinho to Zaha, which I am considering. And Vout will be on the bench for me. Yeah.
Vout on the bench. He's getting a rare start.
Yeah, I mean, if Saiz was injured tonight and he's back in the frame for Norwich, then it might change my mind about going Dino. I might just do the Coutinho to Zaha swap, because obviously Wolves at home to Norwich could be all right. But I quite like having Dino. I think from what I've seen from the data tonight, I think he could be a good option. So I might take a hit and go both. At this stage in the season, I'm rolling the dice. But I think if I get a good score out of Son tomorrow night, I'll more likely to take the hit. If I'm really struggling, if Son blanks tomorrow, I'll probably play safe and just take the one transfer.
Yep, makes sense. Luke, let's talk your free hits team. It's different to Mark's. You got Salah.
Yeah, it's essentially just really, really template. It's quite boring, actually. I think.
You do surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
The new Luke.
The new me. I think the only real thing I've kind of talked about it throughout is just whether I decide to not go Gordon and basically pick an Everton defender instead. That's like my main thing that I may do. I may get either Coleman or the Ukrainian in defence instead of Gordon. The other thing I half thought about is maybe just not go Watkins or Ings, because maybe they share some minutes, and then just go triple Aston Villa defence as well, and maybe go a back five of triple Villa defence, double Everton defence.
Ooh, stacking up.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I kind of like the all-in play. You know, it is, like I say, I do play multiple other games, and often when you do play a daily game, which is almost what like a free hit team is, you know, at the end of the day, if Villa keep a clean sheet and Everton keep a clean sheet, or even two out of it, then suddenly you've absolutely smashed the free hit. So yeah, there's part of me that thinks, well, why not? Because it doesn't really matter at this rank, right? So I'm not saying it's the optimal play, but I think it could work. So that is in the back of my mind, just to be a bit different. But it's always in the mind to be different. But you know, I'm talking about probably a handful of people, really, in the grand scheme. Out of 9 million of people, they're not 9 million people aren't going to have this team, are they? It's just when you see it on Twitter and everyone doing a free hit, it looks like this. But really, it's already different enough, isn't it? So yeah, not sure which way I'll go.
I like it.
I think. Yeah, I do too. I mean, that's been the thing this season, is that because we're in this Twitter bubble, you think that when you pick your free hit team and you've gone pretty safe, you think, oh, that's too safe. When actually you're still well out in terms of differentials and EO, you're going to be well out ahead. So, I think there's not a lot wrong with this, to be honest. I think, Mikalenko maybe coming in for one of the Villa defenders over Gordon might be the way to go if we're not backing Everton to score too many goals, which it could be the case, but I like it. Yeah.
Yep. We won't do black box leagues because I imagine there's a hell of a big change.
There's a bit of a change. Natalie hasn't captained De Bruyne, has she, in black? But I'm just going to check the Apprentice League. Because I was doing all right, but I mean, I'm a bit worried that you did you advise Natalie like you did Kelly Summers? No, she hasn't. She's got Mahrez captain. There you go. She's been watching earlier episodes, obviously.
Oh dear.
You obviously didn't tell about Mahrez, did you, Az?
No. She needs to watch back on some of the old black box episodes to know my thoughts.
That was risky. Even I only predicted one start there. She needs to start following me, although we got 0, so I'm quite surprised by that. Just to let you know, by the way, Mark, Laporte went off injured apparently, so that's some sort of payback.
Did he? Yeah, and he didn't get a clean sheet either, did he? So,
yeah. No, obviously, I was about to say he went off in the 61st minute, so he did, but then obviously they conceded, so obviously not.
Yeah.
You'll like this, Mark. Henry's beating me this week, and he's got a front three of Mateta, Dennis, and Antonio.
Yeah.
And has started Shane Duffy.
And he's still beating you.
Yep.
Incredible. And he's got a bench of Sanchez, Elise, Livramento, and Amity, which rivals your bench boost, arguably.
Yeah. He's probably better plays than I am.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a bizarre week, isn't it? I mean, I think we've seen it the last couple of game weeks with the Son haul and now the De Bruyne haul, when Salah has completely dried up. And it's kind of what we needed more of throughout the season. It's actually, well played to people who've got on the back of that. And yeah, I think we've been lacking this kind of variety all season. I think Salah's been such a dependable player to go to, and De Bruyne hasn't really done what he's done tonight on a regular. Well, he hasn't done anywhere near what he's done tonight on a regular basis. If only he'd have been a reliable option over the season, and if only Son had shown his consistency throughout the season. He's obviously been explosive the last 7-8 game weeks, but he hasn't been that all season. So it's been Salah all the way until now. And in the last 6 weeks, it's got interesting because of that. So I want that next season, and we'll see what we get, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Obviously, it's not been great for you, but it's been for the rest of us a bit more interesting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's people clawing up like 60, 70-point gaps on me now in like the mods and cons leagues and stuff. So, yeah, I just need a big game from Harry Kane tomorrow, which I can't say I'm too confident.
Cancelo just got an assist, by the way.
Oh, good.
Another goal. What's that? 5-1 now, is it? The goal difference situation's gone completely out the window for Liverpool now, hasn't
10 goals in 2 games for City.
And the thing is, people said that City, they were worried about them after the loss to Real Madrid. They said that their heads might go down and they're out, and they've absolutely smashed Newcastle and Wolves straight off the bat. And the same thing happened last time this happened when they went out to Spurs. And this is what I mean about mentality and trying to play the game of guessing. Sometimes, it's not a wise thing, because City is just a very good team, and those were very good fixtures.
But where was this Sterling on our free hit, Mark?
Yeah, he was nowhere, was he? Nowhere. Well, this is it. I've gone with my free hits. I've had 6 Man City players and got no returns at all off them. Yeah, and so just missed it. Basically, just missed it. So
yeah.
But yeah, again, well played to everyone who's got on that tonight.
Yep, and all the people that held... I have seen some people who have kept faith with Sterling. So if you've kept faith with him for all his blanks, then you've finally been rewarded in this double. Ticker, only 2 of these left for the season. Quite sad when you look at the ticker with just two game weeks left on it. If you're investing in players for now on game week 38, it looks like Leicester at the top of the pile. Leicester and Palace. Leicester have got Watford. And then Chelsea obviously tough, but then Southampton at home. Southampton at home for Leicester, that could be a great game for them. If you've got the likes of Maddison and Vardy and stuff, and they all start in that match. Southampton away from home, that's where they're shipping all their goals. So when I was looking at 38, that was the figure. I was like, oh, Southampton away from home, then it's Leicester, and you're like, oh, that's a hard game to know who's going to play. But yeah, maybe Maddison is a good buy for this double, and for 38 makes him even more attractive. Then you've got Spurs down in 3rd with Burnley and Norwich. Arguably slightly better than Burnley, even though they've got the 2 games. Tottenham and Villa, both quite tough. And then Newcastle, and then right down the bottom, you've got Man United. Oh, and you've got City as well, but I don't think anyone's going to be hopping off some of their players. But on paper, attacking-wise, West Ham away and Villa at home are fairly tough games, but they've scored 10 goals in 2 games.
I don't think they get 5 goals in those games apiece, but who knows,
You hope not.
No. Because we don't have any City attackers, and they've absolutely punished us. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I think it's looking increasingly likely they're going to go into the final game having won the title now. By the looks of it, they're going to be 3 points ahead with a massive goal difference advantage, right? So
on that note, Mark, right? So in 37 as well, when we're talking about teams with their final game, especially at home, usually it seems to be at home. When it's the final game at home, they kind of roll out some players. Sometimes, like the old Man United did the other week with Cavani, and Mata came on. Although embarrassingly, Mata's probably one of our better players.
Yes,
and played the next week after that. But there are other examples, I think, where we're probably going to see some of the teams that, especially you'd imagine the ones who don't have anything to play for, that might roll out some interesting lineups. We have seen it multiple times. So is there anywhere there that we think we could get punished? I think Mark Noble, for example, is very likely to play his lot in the home game versus Man City. Whether he starts that game, I doubt it. He might just come on. But there are other examples, I think.
Well, one example is Arsenal, because if Arsenal beat Spurs, that's it, right? Arsenal got fourth, and Spurs can't do it.
So you're saying Lacazette could play a farewell game?
Exactly. Lacazette against Everton could happen.
This is where I think.
I mean, there's sentimental picks.
That's it. I think some of the, like Planet FPL often do their fan pods and stuff, don't they? I think they'd be quite useful at this stage.
FPL Planet, yeah.
Just keep recycling that, Joe. I love it.
Yeah. You've got to say it properly so they get some followers, Mark. Come on. We've got to be nice.
Oh, that's true. Sorry. I want to be nice.
Yeah. But I'm sure there are some that maybe we haven't considered as just outside, FPL players that maybe they get the final game. I mean, I don't think you can bank on it, but certainly
Chelsea, an interesting one as well. They've got one of the easiest games imaginable. Watford at home, that final game.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to get in that?
Man City could roll out. I mean, they haven't played the kids all season, even in the League Cup. Are they suddenly going to start playing a couple of the kids, like Riley and Palmer, in that final game? Maybe.
I think they'll get on. I think that the chance they get on. I mean, they haven't got the Champions League final to save players for, have they? So, I think.
I don't know about City. I think City go full strength if they won the league. They're going to want to put
really.
Etihad's going to be absolutely buzzing. They're going to be lifting the trophy. You put your strongest team out, win that game 10-0, and everyone's like absolutely going absolutely crazy.
Might drop points. I can't see it, but I suppose it's all hypothetical, isn't it? Newcastle are perfectly safe now, home to Arsenal this week. I mean, I don't think anyone's got any Newcastle players, but do they roll out any players they're getting rid of? I mean, they're going to have a massive squad overhaul, aren't they, in the coming weeks? Yeah. I don't know. Just food for thought, anyway.
So the goal difference now is 7, right? So if City beat West Ham, it's over, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at a scenario now where Liverpool could go into the final day with nothing to play for against Wolves other than resting players for the Champions League final, which will obviously put doubt over the minutes that their front three get. And Man City with the title already won and just playing that game out. So it's shifted a bit, hasn't it? We want it to go to the wire, but it doesn't look like it's going to unless City drop something at West Ham. So,
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Green Arrow, not too many of these left. We're at 1,505 mils shared.
They're not getting much off us too, either, are they?
I'm afraid I won't be donating any money this week. I can say that for sure. But if you've had a really good week this week and you're on for a massive Green Arrow, why not do something nice and give to the Green Arrow charity, which is emergency aid in Ukraine. There's a link to that in the YouTube description. Just do it on your phone. Just give what you can to that as well. We'd love to get that to 2,000 mil shared before the end of the season. Website, just to direct you all to the FPL BlackBox website that Mark's been working very hard on. FPLBlackBox.com.
There we go. That'll be the address. That's sensible. Yeah.
Nice and easy. Yeah, good.
No mucking around with the URL. Nothing clever there. Straight in with that. But yeah, go visit. I mean, Luke's finding that funny for some reason. I don't know what that is, but
it's just how surprised as seen with the address. It's like FPL BlackBox.
It was more the .com, .net or .org or .co.uk. Okay. I wasn't sure which one of those he'd gone for. Not
I paid a fortune for that. I had to buy it off some. No, it was available. Luckily, no one had nabbed it.
Not like our Twitter. Our Twitter handle.
No, God, who's got that? We need to get that off them. Go to the website. All the episodes are on there, and obviously links to podcasts and anything else we can be bothered to put up. I think we will be doing bits and pieces in summer. We have got Sunday Match of the Day Challenge.
Match of the Day Challenge. Yeah, Mark and I will be back. God, if that had been tonight, that would have been...
Yeah, I know. That would have been awful, wouldn't it? Yeah. How's it going to go on Sunday, though? I mean, could your slide out the top 10K continue as?
Oh, my God. Well, let's just go through the games quickly. So the games on Sunday, because there's a lot of them. Spurs v Burnley, so that's when Son gets another hat-trick. Villa v Palace, Leeds v Brighton, Watford Leicester, West Ham City, Wolves Norwich, and Everton Brentford.
Yeah. So we won't be watching any of the games, and then we'll be coming on at 10:30 to watch Match of the Day, having not known who scored or even who started in those games, and then you can watch our reactions live. Last time it wasn't very entertaining, was it? It was quite tedious, actually. I thought I didn't enjoy it at all. No, actually, last time it was our most watched live audience episode. Do you remember? We logged on and we were like, there's 3,000 people watching, and I was like, something's bad's going to happen, isn't it? That's why there's 3,000 people watching. We should have known.
You just know. I saw that number. I was like, there's no way this many people would be here if we'd both done well. So
No.
we've either both done really badly or one of us
Yeah.
has done absolutely terribly. And
Yeah, and it turns out that I sold Torres going into the game week to get Lukaku,
yeah,
and Torres, having blanked in a 5-0 win at home to Norwich, then got 18 points in the follow-up game. I can't remember who they were playing. Who were they playing?
they played Arsenal.
Anyway,
They were Arsenal.
Arsenal,
Xhaka
that's
got the
right.
red, didn't they? And you bought in Lukaku, and Chelsea got a man sent off.
Yeah,
So he
at
was-
Liverpool.
yeah.
Reece James got sent off, so he got nothing. And then, but obviously Lukaku made it up to me. No, but yeah, so that was the start. That was the first match of the day challenge. It went down in FPL folklore, certainly FPL BlackBox folklore. So hopefully Sunday will be the same, but maybe the other way round, as maybe it'll be your agony and
Dropping out the top 10k, that would be.
That
I can't believe I'm fighting for the top 10k finish now. That's so depressing.
it's Luke and the model. I blame them too.
I do. I blame.
He's been talking to the model, tipped him off, and
They found him out. What can I say?
Yeah,
It took long
exactly,
enough. 37
Exactly.
weeks. Jesus Christ.
The variance has caught up to me finally.
It has. It's hunted you down, and now it's looming over you. It's outside. You know that window there. You can just see variants hanging around outside of the bushes.
I need to get one of those.
James Harding's
one of
got
the
a
signs.
good idea for you, Mark, in the chat.
Oh,
He
what's
says,
that
is
then?
Natalie going to watch the match of the day challenge with you to see
Oh,
if she overtakes you?
Is she close enough to overtake me? I don't think she is, but mate, we'll see. I mean, no, that would have been a thrill. We'd have got a record audience for that, watching me being overtaken in the Apprentice League.
That'd
but-
be so good. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and we're
I don't think that's
gonna
gonna
meet up
happen.
and watch Game Week 38, aren't we? The three of us.
We are.
Nice.
And that's when your top 10k dream could disappear forever, but we'll see.
And your top 100k dream. Let's not get too carried away.
yeah, well, it's not about me. It's not about me, is it? It's never about me. Yeah, it's fine.
Deflect. Got to deflect. Lovely stuff, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been I mean, I would say it's been nice looking at the comments, but it hasn't at all. But thank you all for watching. If you haven't liked the stream, please do that now. Subscribe to the channel. Get yourself, find yourself somewhere nice to watch the Match Day Challenge on Sunday. It'll be about 10:30. We'll be doing that. So
Yeah.
quite late in the day, but we'll be around. But yeah, that's it. Good night from me.
It's good night for me.
Good night, everyone.